Hey everybody, welcome to episode 1. Just a quick disclaimer here before we actually jump in. I've been working on the episode in post-production, and I realised I was zoomed quite a bit too far out, in all honesty, with the whole setup on the table. I wanted to try kind of catch as much as I could, have a layout where I could sort of set the adversary panels and the Blitz card and sort of see enough space to kind of move things around the table and sort of demonstrate some of that, which I achieved and I was happy enough with. But at the same time, looking back on it, everything is just a little far too out, to be honest, and you can't really pick up the detail on the cards on the spirit panels. So just a note on that one. I've learned from my mistakes, clearly from my blunder, and from now on when I do the episodes, I'm definitely going to have a more zoomed version of the view, where we can pick up the detail on the cards quite a bit more, because of the extra island tile as well. I sort of was a little bit sort of hampered in how I could lay those things out. But look, some of the extra rigging equipment I mentioned has arrived, and we're getting the lighting in this weekend and all that kind of thing. So hopefully for next time it'll be a lot more polished, a lot easier to read what's going on. But look, I overlaid some sort of images and things like that in as part of the episode, so hopefully that helps kind of move things along too. So I do hope you stick around. I do hope you can still get quite a bit from the episode. It was a great playthrough. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Hello and welcome to our first playthrough here on the show. I am your host, Tepid Goose. We are on BlunderSpeaker Playthrough 1, which will be linked to episode 1 as I described in our introduction episode. What we're doing here today, I sort of went through in episode 0, but we very briefly recap before we jump into the game itself. I've got the game already set up here, so yeah, I mean, I know I talked about Greg and solo playthroughs, and if you're familiar with his content, you'll see how he kind of shuffles up the decks and he kind of does all of that when he's starting the game and he's introducing the game. For me, it was a bit much. I thought about doing it, but space-wise and everything else, I kind of just thought I'll just get it set up in advance. So I've got all the decks shuffled, everything's laid out, and we're pretty much ready to go here. Before I get into the game itself, just a quick note and mention about the sort of space and the rig and kind of everything that I've got set up on the day. It's set up for a kind of a probably one-time deal. I was excited to get started. I wanted to get this episode done, so I've done a kind of a temporary measure where I've sort of set some stuff up that you'll sort of won't see in the shot on purpose, clearly. But yeah, look, the lighting and kind of the space is not quite exactly how I would set it up. You can see here, we've got a kind of a bin in the corner here, which is being used to kind of hold up one of the holders for the camera. So sort of a boom arm sort of effort, let's say. So it's all a little bit sort of on the fly. Again, lighting, things like that. I meant to have a light that's going to light up the space, so it's not ideal. We've got a little bit of daylight coming through, which is kind of creating this sort of luminescent, kind of over saturated or over exposed kind of thing in the background. So look, forgive me on all that stuff, not quite ideal. Again, as I mentioned last time, I'm still figuring it all out, but hopefully we've got enough that we can at least make out most of what's happening here. And it's well lit enough that we can sort of see what's happening. So we've got base shadow, or base earth, and we've got base shadows. They're the two spirits in question for today. I did mention last time as well that we will be playing with the power progression cards, so this is quite interesting. I'm a little bit nervous about how all this is going to go. I mentioned last time I figured there's probably about a difficulty 1 in this. I might be wrong. I didn't mention the fact that clearly these cards are set up and designed for these spirits to use, which sort of probably brings that difficulty back in. Even though I don't know what's written on here, I have no clue what the cards are. I don't know which order they come in. I did mention I think there's 2 minors at the top of Earth's track, so to speak, here, but I don't know if it's the same for shadows. I don't know whether it's 2 and then a major or whatever, and I clearly have no clue what the cards are. However, I do seem to remember, and I'm pretty sure the whole intent behind this is These are cards that work with the kit of the spirits. So, again, I don't know what I'm going to be getting. I don't know, whether it's major or minor. That's going to make life a bit difficult for me. But then again, I'm probably getting cards that are at least aligned to the elements and the sort of gameplay style of these spirits. So, yeah, we might be talking about a Div 1, we might be talking about Div 0. Hard to say for sure, but we'll see how that all plays out. As I mentioned, as I'm going, I'll kind of pull the card out of the sleeve and I'll look at what the next card is on the list, and then I've got my decks set up over here on the side. I spent some time shuffling them, which I shouldn't have bothered because I'm clearly going to be going and actually pulling the cards out of the decks when I find them. Other than that, what else do we have here? We've got Brandenburg Prussia. I've got the card over here. BP3 for today, which again I mentioned I'm not super used to, or I had to kind of look at the configuration specifics of that. So what we have for this deck is we've got a 1 stage cards, by the way. So stage 1, stage 3, that's your kind of famous stage 3 card, which for BP6 is right at the front, but here it goes 1 1 3, then 2 2 2 2, and then 3 3 3 3. Now for Blitz, we're going to get a kind of a speed boost for the invaders, which we'll get to in a moment. So that'll kind of start with the 1, and then you'll only have one more 1 left to flip, basically. Or sorry, you won't have any more 1s left to flip, should I say. You'll be kind of going into the 3 quite quickly after that. It's a 3-4-3 fear deck, which is tiny. I mentioned last time, and of course I'll get into this quite a bit as we go along the weeks, but I'm used to playing on those extreme level difficulties, and I've sort of set myself a challenge which I've been pushing to try get through. And in there, when you play with the double adversaries, you kind of add the fear cards together. So just randomly to give you an idea, if I played Brandenburg Prussia plus another one and they both had a 4-4-4, which is actually very small, most of them are bigger, but you'd kind of add what's above 3 each time. So you would, instead of having a 4-4-4, if you had another adversary at 4-4-4, you'd hit a 5-5-5. Basically, because they're both 1 above 3. Anyway, look, I don't know why I bothered mentioning that. I'm not going to cut it out. I did say before, if I made a blunder, I made a blunder. That was completely pointless. We'll get to that probably weeks and maybe even months down the line. But it's a 3-4-3 today, which is quite nice. Blitz does add some extra fear. Again, I'm getting to that in a moment. Just to kind of describe the layout just a tiny bit more, we've got the usual kind of Spirit Island mat, so to speak, here, where everyone will be pretty used to seeing this. So it's kind of in shadow a little bit in the corner here, which is pretty appropriate for playing with shadows flicker like flame. But again, you should hopefully be able to make out what's happening there. Got my new fancy element markers, the wooden ones, which I got in the token pack 2, which I'm super happy about. Never played them before, just got them for today. And I've got the little chunky reminder tokens for each of the colours as well, which is super cool, and I'm super, super happy about all of that too. So over here we've got all the sort of bits and pieces, tokens. I've got some kind of dice for defend and things like that, but we'll get into all of that, about how I kind of use the space, where I put my cards, how I remind myself how things are going in the game. And to be honest, I think I'm going to sort of make today a lot about that, which is why I'm sort of talking through the space a bit more than I certainly would under normal circumstances, because it is really today an introduction episode. This is introduction to the game. I'm trying to create an environment for myself where I've sort of thrown myself off balance with Blitz, and with, I've added an extra island board, which I mentioned last time too, so we'll talk about the rules of that very briefly as well. And I've just given myself enough of these are things I'm not used to that I'll hopefully feel tripped up by it, and it'll be out of my comfort zone. And I'm sort of creating an environment, or that gives me that sort of almost new player feel, where I'm not in my element. I'm not really familiar. I'm not used to. These are different order of operations that I'm used to. But you'll see, and I'll talk you through how at least I go about structuring my turns, structuring my growth, using, like I said, the tokens and the various dice and different things to kind of remind myself of what's going on and sort of order my operations through the turn. So I'll spend a bit of time on that today. I think probably more than, again, I would usually do, to explain a little bit up front in my first playthrough what I do and how I do it. Hopefully give you guys some tips, and you can maybe look at, because you see a lot of that into the Reddit and things, for newer players around how do I, what's the best way to remember things, or certainly as people go into multi-handed, especially if they're moving away from just playing with one spirit and they're going to maybe 2 or maybe 3. You get people asking a lot, how do you go back from one to the other, and how do you remember how all your cards are working, and does it not get too much? So I'll talk a little bit about that as well today. And finally then, just the rule set itself. We've got two kind of main things going on that take us away from the rules. So we've got the Blitz scenario. As I said, I've never played this before, so this essentially makes everything in the game from slow to fast. There's no slow pairs anymore, and that includes innates as well as power cards. So that's kind of the simple part. Anything that's already fast, and clearly here we've got quite a few. We've got some innates and some cards from each player. If it's already fast, it gets it's one less energy to play. So for example, here we take out one of Earth's cards, a Year's Perfect Stillness. This would cost me 2 to play instead of 3. That's one example. If it's an innate, or if it's a card that's 0 costing, and I believe, yeah, Shadows has one there, Concealing Shadows, it's a 0 costing card. So if I play this, or if I use one of my innates that's already fast, you gain an energy. So it's a kind of an energy generation kind of mechanic going on. So we'll see how that plays out. And then the other thing is when you're exploring, once per board, and I'm glad I read that because I didn't know that until about 10 minutes ago. I thought it was for each explorer, but once during your explorers, and once per board, you're going to add an additional explorer. So I said in the video yesterday, maybe somebody picked up on it, that this scenario kind of kills Shadows innate and a lot of their gameplay, because that's a pretty good innate actually, especially into Brandenburg Prussia. If you can get ahead of the buildings a little bit and you can stop the build, they've got no way around that. So the innate can still be quite good here, depending on which board and sort of how the explorers happen. We'll figure that all out as we go. So they add an additional explorer once per board. When the island becomes blighted, you put one less blight per player on the card. It reads per player, but we're going to see how the extra island board changes that in just a moment. So when you blight, you put one less than whatever's written on the card. However, the setup changes sort of, counteract that quite a bit. So what we've got is the reverse of that. So on the setup, we put an additional, blight per player on the card. So you've got this kind of plus and minus thing going on. It all washes out really, but the idea being here is that it's Blitz, it's fast, you've got extra ravages, you're ravaging on the first turn, for example, so it's harder to get ahead of it and you'll blight earlier, quicker, but overall it should kind of wash out, on average. The other thing that happens is, so you put the additional blight on there, and then as I alluded to it a moment ago, the invaders get an additional set of actions at the end of setup. So you set up as normal, and then once you set up and you do your explore, which I haven't done yet, by the way, it's the last part of the setup that I didn't actually action so far. When you do the explore, then there's an additional set of actions. So they'll then go ahead and build on that land, and then you're going to explore again. So again, all out of my comfort zone. I'm not used to this at all. I'm used to some of the speed of Brandenburg Prussia, obviously, but this whole idea of getting an extra action at the beginning of the game, it's definitely out of my comfort zone. It's closest to Habsburg Mining Expedition as an adversary, which again we'll get into in another episode, but if you're used to that, this is kind of probably the closest thing that you'll get from an adversary point of view. So that's all of that. Just the very last thing then around the extra board tile. I'm pointing down here because I've got the book there if I need it. We put the extra island tile, we set up everything like the Dahan, the tokens, the blight, all of that kind of stuff that goes there, and then you've got a table which basically tells you, depending on how many players, you follow the sort of rules for setting up the board. And as far as I know, for 2 players it says the initial explorer only, so you don't add any of the invaders. If you've got extra players, you do add things like the starting invaders, but for us, we don't. We only do the initial explore, and I think it's pretty easy to see here that that would count the explorer as well as the extra build and the extra explore on top of that. So all of that should be good. Let me see here. I was gonna say combining the two. The other thing that you do is it changes the size of your blight pool. I should mention, so based on the number of island boards rather than the number of players. So what I did in this case was, we've got a starting blight pool of before I got to the Blitz rule, I would have done 2, 4, 6. So it would have been 2 per player, but instead of players per board, so that would have been 2, 4, 6 plus the 1, which is your 7. That's your kind of standard according to these rules. So it's per island board, and then this also added an additional blight per player on the blight card. So that was 1, 2, 3 more. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 7, 10 total. Sorry, I'm doing a lot of fast maths there, but it's 10. Hopefully I got that right. The extra thing you do is you add an extra fear marker per player to the fear pool, which we've done. We've got 4 plus 4, which is our 8 that under normal circumstances, and then we've got 1 extra each. You can hopefully see them laid out there. It's a little bit in shadow, but that's 10 total. A little bit like England, higher levels of England, if you're used to playing against those. So there's some things here which I'm used to from different rule sets from different adversaries, but again, it's all kind of coming together in a different way. The other part of this is each board effects happen once per board. So if you've got any rule that says each board, so I guess, for example, with the escalation here, you would have each board with buildings. So whenever you escalate on a stage 2 card, you would do that on each board, which makes sense. And then each player effects happen only once per player, so you don't scale those up. So again, for things like event cards and whatever else, if you say each player does X, it's only per player. It's not per island board, which is fine. So I think that's all what we needed to do there. I do remember yesterday I was reading through and I came across something related to playing with Blitz and with Brandenburg Prussia, and I can't quite remember what that was. So I might just very quickly, do a little Google search here, which is not great to start the thing. I should have done this before, but again, blunders live, semi-live, all that kind of stuff. So we've got Blitz plus Brandenburg Prussia, and again I've got my thing set way back here, which is also not ideal. No, let me see here. Quirky Blitz, maybe that'll help us. Let's hit that and let's very quickly see, because I did see something when playing with adversaries. Yeah, maybe not. I mean, nothing's jumping out at me here, so I think we should be good to go. If I come across something, maybe I can stop and search for it. Absolutely not ideal to be doing this now. I wish I could remember what it was that I read. It did say something about certain adversaries and the thing, but yeah, you know what? Let's just jump into it. If I get something wrong, it's not hopefully going to be the end of the world. Okay. So that's the setup. We're 15 minutes in here. We're ready to go. So again, guys, really encourage you to get involved and do follow along in the chat. If anything comes up and I'm making any mistakes or anything like that, please, of course, let me know. I certainly do it to other people when I'm watching their content. So I strongly encourage you to do it to mine. And it'll be funny to see, based on how many years of other people's videos I watch and comment on, quite how many mistakes I make on my own. I'm quite intrigued, in fact, to see how that all shakes out. So I'm going to put those up there. There's our power progression cards. For now, let us do the open and explore. So again, we're going to explore into jungles first. So I'll get my little box of things that are coming from the token, broken token thing, and we will go. We'll start here. So yes, we'll hit that one. And yes, we'll hit that one. So we're going explore, and I'm already starting to forget my extra explorer rule. So I have to pick one each of them. So I'm going to do this first. I'll treat it a little bit like an escalation. So here we're going to start to see a pocketing effect. We won't really talk too much about that today, but this term pocketing refers to anywhere where it would explore, but it doesn't, because it doesn't have a source of explorers. So in this case, on this board, because that's adjacent to the coast, it will explore. That's fine. It's not going to explore in there because it's not adjacent to a building. So we kind of get that effect in the middle, which is quite nice. But it does mean then in that case that once per board we add an additional explorer onto that one, because it was you get it on there. And then on this case, then we've got two lands here which are quite the same, which is an interesting setup. They both start with a town. This one we can maybe defend. We can perhaps use concealing shadows ability there, and that might be quite nice to do by jumping into that one and then perhaps gathering some of those to hand away. We can maybe gather 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that into there. So what we might do is we might add on that one. We're looking to protect that land. We're also looking to protect this land because we've got a presence over here for Earth. Not exactly sure how we're going to go about doing all of that. Remembering, of course, that this is this is the Blitz scenario, so already in my head, in my own head, my head is kind of messed up because on the first turn I'm going to hit that ravage, which I was only I'm only just remembering now. So on the first turn, this is where you're going to start to see my order of operations come into play. It's already happening, and I haven't even finished exploring the first time yet. But on the first turn, what I would usually do is I'd start to think about, okay, well, what am I going to do here? Am I going to defend, or am I going to, for example, do a fruitful earth plus a rituals kind of thing? So I started to already think in my mind what that might look like. So I think I'm going to stick with this. I might end up just letting that presence go over there. That's sort of instinctively what I may end up happening. So what I think I might do is I will add the extra explorer in here for the sake of continuing and keeping moving. I think I'll also do the same here because I've got Shadow's presence over here. I think I'll probably want to do a build and a defend in that land, perhaps. I might want to defend that land, and I might want to do a concealing shadows in that land. Something to that effect. So let's see kind of how that all shakes out. But I think because I've already got the hand in here and I've already got presence in here, I think I'm going to want to be doing something with this land, and I'm going to want to protect it. So I think I'll do that in there. What I might end up doing is, because you see I can't stop this one from building as well. So that's probably going to blight and cascade. So in fact, in that case, so this attack for 2. Actually, no, do you know what? Because on the first turn in that case, what I might want to do is play Mantle of Dread. So if I could get in there and play Mantle of Dread in that land, that would solve that land, which would be quite nice. We don't really want that Blight cascading already, so that's a land I want to prioritize. And then over here, we would potentially look to do Concealing Shadows. We're not going to get 3 card plays. Obviously, we don't need to necessarily Favors Call Due to gather the Dahan in, which is what I was talking about before. That's a similar to play pattern from Shadows, where you'll usually have on the first turn you'd go somewhere, gather the Dahan in there, and then on the second turn when they ravage, you play the Concealing Shadows. But I'm clearly not going to get to do that this time, so again, Blitz is kind of messing me up here. But I already have some Dahan in there, so that's probably fine. I can probably use the Concealing Shadows in that land, and then move in there and do the Mantle of Dread, which would solve that land quite well. So I think in that case, then I would have, so I'd have Defend of 4 coming in here, or sorry, a counter attack of 4, so we'll put the extra Explorer in there. So I think that's going to work out pretty well. Not sure if you followed along exactly what I'm saying, but I'll explain it again as we go, or as we hit the Ravage step. So that was my decision. I went extra explorer here, and extra explorer in here. So now we're going to go ahead. We're going to do the build in this case, which is going to build me a town over here, a city over here, a city here, and a town here. Yeah, tricky. Certainly very tricky. Okay. So no, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, if I'm going to let that land go, I'm going to add the extra explorer over there. And I think I've just seen why. So I think I'm going to do that instead. That's going to be my approach for that, because I've looked at the thing and I see 2 + 2, yeah. Oh no, I can still only play 1 card. I'm forgetting how slow Earth is. I'm thinking I'm playing Might Earth, so I've only got 1 card play on the first turn, which is certainly not ideal. I was about to say I'm going to Rituals in here as well as the draw the Fruitful Earth using the Grow 3, but I can't do both. So I'm going to have to defend a 4. This is going to ravage 3, 5, 6. So defend a 4 in there is not going to do that either. Definitely want to protect those 2 Dahan. I would at this point in the game consider 2 Dahan more valuable than a single presence token, most likely, especially because I'm gonna need them for the rituals as well as the defend. And actually, I've just remembered, Earth has a special rule. Okay, and so does shadows actually. So I'm forgetting both of these have special rules because I'm so used to playing with them with aspects. So Earth has a special rule that potentially lets me defend 3 in there if I add another presence. So I was about to say I'll just throw that away, but that might slightly change things potentially. I have to have a sacred site, so I can't get a sacred site in there, which is a little unfortunate. And no matter what I do here, that's just going to die anyway. So that actually doesn't really change anything per se, which isn't ideal. So defend a 4 in here won't stop all of that. Crops wither and fade. I'm just thinking, is there any way? Like, there are combinations of cards right now that are going through my head that can do certain things. So if I do crops wither and fade on Earth, if he was in there, for example, if he grew over to there, which he actually can't because he's 3 away from there, so Earth can't grow in there anyway. But yeah, I was thinking about combining certain cards here. And I know, by the way, I still haven't actually completed the extra explorer action. This is again what I'm going through. This is the explorer here or here dynamic that's going on. But I think ultimately what I'll end up doing is, so if I place an extra presence there, see, what I don't want to be doing right now, to be clear, is trying to defend this land. There's no Dahan in it. You can see here my intent is to try to defend this land because there's Dahan in that. And if you're new to this game, that will be a concept that's potentially, you haven't quite grasped yet, and that's fine. But already I'm starting to think that the lands I want to protect are going to have, there's going to be orders of priority around what I want to do around protecting the land. As I talked about before, there's 2 different reasons to protect the 2 lands on Shadow's board right now. You've got a Blight Cascade, which is not great, but you've got over here presence tokens and Dahan that you also want to protect. So that's 2 different reasons to protect over here. Similar sort of dynamic that's happening on this board with presence versus Dahan. In this case, a little bit difficult to defend over here. Even if there were Dahan in there, we're talking about quite a high ravage already in the game. So again, we'll sort of see where I land exactly on this, but I'll finish out right now with the Explorer. I'm going to make a decision, and I'm going to put the Explorer into there. So that was my build action done, and then I'm going to explore again, which is into wetlands. So we'll go ahead and do that. And this time, unfortunately, on the extra island board, we do have a source for both that land and that land. It's funny, my brain automatically goes to am I adjacent to two buildings because I'm used to playing against England. But clearly here, when we talk about explorers, we just need a single source. So in this case, we have a source from this building here and this building here, which is a bit unfortunate. We'll come back and pick the extra explorer in a second. Over here, we've got 1 and 2. And over here, we've got 1 and 2, and then for each board we need to choose which one gets an extra explorer. So now I'm starting to think, is there any way, oh, you know what, I never built there. Sure I didn't. No, is that the only one I missed on the build? I built there, I built there, I built there, and I built, yeah, so that was the only one I missed on the build. So now I'm starting to think about which land I might be able to pick off with shadows innate. So that's where that's where my brain is starting to go. I'm choosing the extra explorer right now, but I need to think, can I solve a land somewhere with the shadows innate? What I can potentially do, for example, here, if I make the single innate, I can target this land and pull that explorer away, and then it won't build. So I definitely don't want to add the extra explorer on that land. I want to add it in here instead. That's already starting to look like a lost cause, which is unfortunate, but at least we can do something about that land potentially. So that decision is quite easy. Over here, again, it's a decision between a big horrible land versus one in the middle. This one has a disease token which can slow things down a little bit there. It's got a Dahan I want to protect, but I think ultimately that's already looking like a bigger problem. So I think I will I'll target that land instead. And then over here, then I've got 1 and 2. This is the land I most want to protect, and this one is probably one just based on the amount of actions I have in the game right now. I'm starting to think I'm not going to be able to get across this whole board and solve all of this. To be honest, I'm feeling quite overwhelmed based on what I've seen already and the number of actions I'm going to have available to me. So I'm starting to think, what can I stop and what can't I? Clearly here in this case, this is a big priority land because it's got 2 to hand and it's got a blight. So I don't want that to be ravaging at all. So what I'm going to do is put the extra explorer in this land and hope that something, perhaps a the hand defend from an event, I might have to rely on something like that into that land. So slight difference there. You've seen me do 2 different things as part of that whole kind of initial exploring setup. In some cases, when I'm thinking about prioritizing lands, I'm moving stuff away, like this one, for example. I moved that extra explorer and I chose it here because this becomes a bigger problem with 2 explorers. That's understandable. I just wanted to ravage for less. Or in other cases, what I might be thinking is I'm already doing something, or I'm already solving a land, so why not put the extra explorer into that one? So, you know, again, that's kind of a case-by-case basis that we just sort of see how it shakes out. So, you know, going a little bit slowly here, just to kind of show you again all the sort of thought processes that are going through my head as part of the operations I'm doing. But you can see I'm already sort of starting to the turn in my head is already starting to take shape, despite the fact that we've just actually done the explore. So in this case, I'll usually lay out my cards like this, and I'll usually do a kind of a, you know, something like this where I'm kind of pushing some cards forward and some cards back, so I can start to get an idea of what my turns might look like. And as you see, you'll see that sort of come to life now in a moment. So what we did say before is Mantle of Dread is probably a good one for shadows if we can make it happen on turn 1. And what I'll usually do as well is I'll kind of work backwards. This is the sort of other thing that I do when I'm constructing a turn. I'll go from what's the effect I want to make, what from my cards and abilities are the things I want or desperately need to hit this turn, if it's obvious, and sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. If I see something I really desperately do want to make, I'll sort of put it out there, and then I'll work backwards in terms of how do I make that happen. Can I use the right combination of growths and various things to kind of have that work? So you'll see if we can make this work with shadows, what that's going to look like right now. What we said was we'd like to make Mantle of Dread happen in this land here, you know, so I'm already thinking, well, I have 2 different growth options that can potentially make that work for me there. This is going to cost 1. It's going to be fast, of course, because it's Blitz, but it's not going to be reduced in cost because it's a slow power. So that's going to cost us 1. We're going to have to find a way to pay for that. Then what we're probably going to want to do as well, because we want to hit the innate, we're going to want a second card to help us do that. Again, I'm already thinking in my mind, well, my innate costs Moon and Fire. I've only got 1 fire left in my hand in this case, so I probably don't want to pick that one. So what I probably want to do is pick from these 2. And in this case here, we had already said before that Concealing Shadows is probably not a bad option to pick if we can go this route to potentially Concealing Shadows in here. It would be quite nice. We will, you know, lose a presence as part of that, but that kind of gives us a turn that gives us our innate to solve this land over here, and it potentially solves this land, and it doesn't solve, but it does something for that land. So that's a kind of a draft of what my turn for shadows would look like. So when I do this, what I'll usually do is then I'll sort of go ahead and I'll put some markers on the board here. I don't actually know what these icons mean in the game, so some of these might be defend, some of them might be isolate or whatever, but I just put some markers on the board to sort of say I'm solving this land and I'm solving that land. So I'll go ahead and do that right now, just to give me a shape of kind of what the board is looking like. And temporarily what I would do then is I'd also sort of make I'll use these other tokens that I have here. I'll put one over there because I'm going to need some presence for this, and I'm going to need 2 card plays, and I can't get an energy from this card to pay for this one. I'm pretty sure that's how Blitz works. Let me read the instructions here. Powers which were already fast cost 1 less energy. For innate powers and power cards costing 0, instead gain 1 energy. So I don't think I can gain an energy to pay for that one, and that's definitely something I need to stop and read, because that matters a lot here. So Blitz, can you there we go. Blitz, can you use the energy gained from playing an already fast zero cost power card to help pay for another power card. Yes, the intent is that already fast zero cards effectively cost -1. Okay, that's quite nice. That's actually really important because I didn't think that was how it worked. So just to clarify what I checked there, in this case, this card is essentially costing -1. That's how they sort of put it in the rules. So when I'm playing this, I immediately get one into my bank that can be used to pay for this other one. And that matters a lot with shadows right here. So what I could do in this case is, rather than use the add presence and gain energy button, I could use the gain a power card button with an add presence at range 1. That's going to be better for me right now, because that's going to give me a power card. It's going to, build out my hand, which is what we want to do in this game as much as we can. And that's going to let me move 1 in here. I don't need the range of 3, I only need a range of 1. So I think temporarily that will be what I do there. I'll also pull a presence up there and I'll put it in there just to remind myself that that's kind of that's the structure of my turn right now. I don't actually put my presence on the board yet because I keep it here to remind myself, and then once I've chosen everything, then I'll go ahead and action that. So I'm putting that here right now, and that's going to give me 2 card plays, which covers both. It's 0 energy, but it's a -1 and a +1. That's okay. And then we're also going to get a 1 energy from this, which I'll take my energy and I'll just put that there just to remind myself of that. And I'll use my reminder token here to say that that's going to be a gather 1 effect that I get from here. So most likely this is my turn from shadows. Probably not going to change. It's quite obvious and it's well structured and has some good effects. So that's going to be kind of what's going on over there. On the other side of things then with Earth, what I would probably do in this case is I have to make a choice. My defend card requires a sacred site, which I don't have, so I can't hit this land over here because these are all range 1 away. I have a Year of Perfect Stillness, so I can just skip this land, but skipping that to save 1 presence is quite a waste. That's not really particularly interesting thing for me right now, so I don't really want a Year of Perfect Stillness there. If I was going to Year of Perfect Stillness at all, I'd probably just Year of Perfect Stillness in there instead, which would potentially pull or stop that build. But rather than that, I can actually use Draw the Fruitful Earth to achieve that same thing, which is probably just a better use of that card. That can gather up to two explorers, which I can pull away explorers from somewhere. So certainly I can solve this build right here. I can't actually solve any others. Let me have a look and just double check. Is there anywhere else on the board? Something like over here would have been nice, where if you could find an adjacent land and pull 2 things in, you could kind of solve some problems by doing that, but it's not going to be the case here. There's nowhere really where pulling in an explorer does really anything for us. So this would just stop a single build. What I could also potentially do is just pull some Dahan away from a problem area, which could be quite nice. These Dahan are about to die here, so I think what I'm going to end up doing is try to find a way to save the Dahan in this land and also pull this explorer away. So there's 2 lands where that will be adjacent to both of these, this land and this land. So I think I'm going to want to draw the Fruitful Earth somewhere into those 2 lands, and it's a range 1 effect, so I need to be range 1 away, which is fine as well. I can certainly do that, no problem. So then the question becomes then, how do I pay for it? That's fine. I've got 2 energy income, so I'll usually also grab some energy and sort of stick that there. I know I'm going to want to go bottom track, so I'm definitely going to go 2 energy on this in this case, and then it just becomes, do I gain a power card, or do I add a presence, or what exactly do I do here? So gaining energy, I'll get 2. This will cost me 1. So again, I'm going to do some little operations here to kind of help me think. So that would leave me with 1 in the pool. And going into next turn, then I'll be looking at playing 2 power cards, but these are all costing 3. So what I might do is gain a power card this turn, give me an idea where I want to go, and then next turn I can I can do the +2 energy option if I need to. So I think that all should be okay. I'm not going to be able to hit that innate clearly at this point in time. It might be quite nice to try hit that innate next turn, and doing so, for example, if I play both of those cards next turn, that would give me the innate. So this is where again I'm sort of planning out sometimes a couple of turns in advance. So just thinking about that might look like that next turn, and that will cost me 4, which I can certainly get next turn with the growth 3. So again, all of those kind of things coming together, trying not to get too bogged down and explain every single detail. But for me, it looks here like if I gain a power card, adding a presence at range 0 in here is not going to really do anything negative for me. It'll actually give me a defend at 3, but events don't trigger on the first turn unless I misunderstood something. It probably would have told me in the rules if that was the case. Yeah, I don't think that is the case. So that's okay. So we won't have an event on the first turn. We know we're going to ravage in there, and it's fine. But we can just put 1 extra presence, and at least we're staying in the land rather than putting it in here, which having 3 in the land makes no sense. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to gain a power card. We're going to go from the bottom track. In this case, I know everything I'm doing on the turn, so I'm going to go ahead and place that presence in there. Am I? So bear with me a second here. Yeah, no. I was just exploring one thing, but I actually can't do it. What I was going to say was, if this add a presence option gave me something at range. Oh, hey, you know what? I actually have to do it that way, don't I? Yeah. Because I talked about before, I need to gather something down into here, don't I? So gathering down into there, if that's my intent, I need to actually go at range 1. So I need to go potentially into this land or even that land. Let me think here. I think, yeah, so we're gathering those out of there anyway. Yeah, there isn't too much I can do additionally. Range 1. Sorry, I'm just thinking through 1 or 2 options here, and I'll say it out loud once I see whether or not it can be done. I'm trying to see, is there a way where I could grow into this land and use the defend from my defend 3 on the next turn? Because if I went grow in there and then do a grow 2 for a 0 in there next turn, that gives me defend a 3 in there, which is quite nice. It just means that the actual draw the fruitful earth itself doesn't do all that much for me in that case. But I may still do it. So I won't have any Dahan in there either, is the only other problem too. So there's a couple of different ways to play this. I could just let this build and then put my presence in there. And I could gather some Dahan in there, which doesn't save this land, and it just sets me up for a defend next turn. I don't love that, to be honest, so no, I'm not going to do that. I am going to go the add a presence, so in this case it'd be 2+2, so I better change that up. So here's what I'm going to do, because if I do the grow 2 this turn, as I was planning, I put another presence in there, but then next turn, where am I going? I'm not really spreading across the island, and we've a lot of problems over here on this side of the island, which I would like to move that way, potentially with shadows, maybe even earth if I can get there. Once I reclaim, I think a growth 1 or a G1 to get a range 2 over there can potentially help, because that side of the island is starting to look pretty tricky. So I think what we're trying to do here is Here's the other thing now, what I just realised that I hadn't done. I'd usually do this probably quicker, so I'd be more on my game. So it looks like I'm going to end up going like this. Add a presence at range 1, take that presence disc, put it on here, and then in this case I would take 2 from here. So I'd put those up there, I'd put those 2 down there, and I would put this here. That's now my preliminary turn with Earth sorted. But I just remembered I'm gaining a power card with Shadows, so that can potentially change all of this. So I'm going to go and grab my thing. I'm not going to draft. I'm going to go and grab my power progression card. We'll turn it over here and slowly lift it up and look and see. Our first card is Dark Entangled Woods. It's a defend power. Quite a nice one. Okay, that's going to help. So let's take out the minor power deck and go and find Dark Entangled Woods. We're happy to see that. Dark Entangled Woods, a great card. This, of course, is a base game card, given that this spirit came from the base game. Where are we here? Obviously, I couldn't do this in advance and go and pull out the cards that have the little tag on the corner, which would be quite nice, but that's just kind of the way it is. Dark Entangled Woods, where are we? There we are, Dark Entangled Woods. Okay. Now, that's that. We'll put those cards to the side. So this is going to go into my hand, and that potentially gives me a defend. Could have given me a defend this turn, but we don't have the energy for it, so that's going to potentially give us a defend on the next turn, which could be quite nice. But actually, no, it doesn't, because it's for mountain and jungle. So do we want to change up our turn now that we've seen that card? Do we want to change our turn in any way? I still think probably not. I think we probably have to hold on to that. Potentially next turn we're looking at doing Crops Wither and Fade. And Favors Call Due could be something. We could potentially combo Favors Call Due with the Rituals of Destruction. Could be a little combo that we set up between the 2 spirits, which could be quite nice. Crops Wither and Fade, I'm not seeing anything particularly useful for it right now, but you know, that might change next turn. Dark Entangled Woods, defend a 3. Again, this is ravaging for 3, 5, 6. It's not doing anything in there. We could use it in this land, but we can't now because we've gained a card. So it's actually not possible for us to go back and be able to swap that with that. So that isn't going to work because we won't have the energy for it. I could if I hadn't spent the energy, or sorry, if my energy economy works, I could potentially do that. But I think we're committed to stopping this with Mantle of Dread. I don't really want that double blinding. So I think we're fine. I think we put Dark Entangled Woods in my hand. I think we're good to go with that. We place our presence marker over here for shadows. We do the plus and minus thing with those, so that's fine. Unfortunately, this isn't a 0, which would have been quite nice, but we gain our 1 off that. We're going to do the ability, which is gather a single explorer, which goes in there, so that's that land solved. Then we do Mantle of Dread itself, which is going to give us 2 fear. Target spirit may push a explorer and town from where they have presence, so that's in there. And I think, given that we just picked up Mantle of Dread, yeah, no, I'm going to just push in here. That's going to be a horrible land that we hopefully solve later on, but we'll get that in there for now. We'll keep it away from the inland. We might be able to clean up the inland enough that some of that gets a little bit pocketed, especially because we in theory don't have too many buildings on that side of the island. So again, pocketing being a term for when you keep the island free of invaders enough that an explorer would hit and there's no source of invaders. So in theory, if this turn 3 or stage 3 card comes, it misses on at least 1 land that I can see. Potentially no, because they'll build, so yeah, it'll only be 1 land, but still, it's better than nothing. Okay, so that's all of that done. So you're done for 2. 1 fear again over here, and then we do this into this land, so Dahan will take no damage from ravaging invaders this turn. That's fine. Over here, nothing I saw on this side of the thing really changed anything for Earth, so I think what I am going to do with Earth is use this ability to gain the extra 2. I will go in here, and then next turn I'll do the G2 in there. So this is going to give me what? It'll give me 1. I'll get to keep 3, and then next turn if I use the G2 I'll gain 2 more energy and it'll be 5, and it will be enough to do this, and then I'll be able to at least get the first level of Gift of Strength, which is quite nice. So let's go ahead and do that. That's going to give me, and then as I said, I will get to do the defend in there if I need to, but I'm actually not going to need to, am I? Because I am about to solve that land. So this is going to give me gather up to 2. So I'm definitely taking those 2 out of there and pulling them in there. I think I want them in there. No, I probably don't actually, because I'll get to keep those 2. No, I'll pull those in there because that's a land I'm going to want to protect anyway, so it's good to have the hand in lands that you want to protect. It's quite a nice idea. So I'll pull those in there, I'll pull this in here, and I will pull, I guess I'll just pull in one of those into there. And that means then that it's one less thing to problem to solve over on that land. So let's go ahead and do that. That's the whole turn done. Now the invaders take their steps, and then it's my turn again after that, which is quite strange with Blitz, but that's what we're getting used to. So let's go ahead and do that. So events, we flip one for timing. We're not going to actually carry it out. Numinous Crisis, interesting one. I was only wondering about this the other day. I thought that was removed from the game. I thought it was one of the ones that got taken out from the Nature Incarnate expansion. I just haven't seen it in so long. It's funny that it was on top of the deck, but anyway, let's continue on. So that was that. We clearly don't have a fear card. We've only gained 3 fear. So we'll go ahead and ravage. Down here we're going to ravage for 1, and we're going to lose at the hand. Now we've no ravage here, no ravage here. Here we're going to ravage, and we're going to lose a blight, and we're going to lose a blight, and a presence is going to die. So we'll put those over there. But the Dahan will fight back, and that's going to kill all of that because that's fighting back for 4. That gives us an extra fear. Over here, we're blighting again over on that one, which is pretty tricky. We're starting to run out of blight pretty quick here, and then also up in the corner, we're also going to blight. So not doing so hot. These 2 spirits are certainly considered among the worst in the game for a reason, but you know, we'll see what we can do. We'll see if we can somehow turn this around. We need to find some mages pretty quick if we're to have any shot in here. So that's the ravage. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the build. Build in there, build in here, no build in here, but we are going to build a city in there, which is not great. Over here we're going to remove that token so that doesn't build, and then we've solved the build in there as well. So again, if you're new to this game, this kind of concept of thinking ahead, so you saw that on my turn there I was prioritizing solving some of the lands that we're about to build, not just every land that's about to ravage. And that won't always be possible, but you should be thinking about how do I make my turns easier in the following turns. So we'll see what happens now that we're about to flip a stage 3 card, because that's, you know, probably going to sting quite a bit. So those are done, the builds are done. Stage 3 card flips, and it's mountains and wetlands. So we've got to double up on the wetlands, which is probably going to start to get pretty tricky. So let's go ahead and go Explorer, because we've got a source clearly, and Explorer. We'll come back and we'll do the extra one in a moment. Over here we'll go Explorer, and Explorer, and we've something quite nice happening down here because that's going to ravage and die from that one, which is pretty good, so we won't be putting the extra Explorer there. And then over on this board then again we've got Explorer here because we've got a source from that land, yeah. And then we've got so 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now we need to think about which one of these extra lands, or which one of these lands takes the extra Explorer. What we've got right here is we've got a whole mess in the corner that I'm not sure how we're solving, and we've got that going back to back, which is going to be a disaster. I don't know, is there any way for us to really solve that problem? We clearly don't want to do it in here because I'm not sure, again, whether there's anything we can do. All of Earth's cards are range 1, which is super tricky. We didn't have a great start. We actually started quite on the outskirts here, away from the extra board tile, which is quite difficult. We can't really find a way over there with our growth option. So we've tried to do it a little bit with shadows coming up that way. Earth kind of trying to come across a little bit, but this is certainly proving to be difficult. Would have been, of course, nice to get a defend in here for next turn, which is really what I'm going to have to try to do. But at that range, it just skip all actions. Again, I can do a growth 1 to get me or a growth 3 to get me a little bit further over that way, but I'm just not sure how that's doing much of anything. What we can yeah, I haven't lined this one up well at all, actually. So I'm just realizing playing the Garland, guard the healing land next turn. I don't have a land for it. Defending 4 and removing a blight, I don't have a good target for that card at all. So I haven't really found that one out, or haven't really sorted that one out all that well at all. What I can potentially do, we did say we were going to try combo the favors called do. So what can we? Yeah, not really much we can do with that either, unfortunately. And I think I'm going to go and I'm going to put the extra explorer in there, because again, a defend a 3 or attack for 3 versus an attack for 4 on that land is probably much the same, and the same kind of events and things will sort of protect us. Well, a defend a 1 per the hand will actually. Yeah, not sure here, folks. I'm starting to feel pretty bad about this. I'm starting to feel pretty uncomfortable about what these spirits are able to do, and we're only a turn in, so this is certainly feeling a lot harder than a difficulty 10 match, if I have to put it that way, because I'm well used to playing difficulty 10 with good spirits, right, rather than these kind of two quite clunky spirits. So over here, what we've got is this is going to give us a defend of 3 automatically in that land. So clearly here, ravaging for 4 is not a problem. So that one is at least easy for us. Okay, so that's it. We finished the turn. We pull those away and put those in our discard somewhere, which I can just kind of throw over here for shadows. For Earth, I'm going to put that energy away, and I'll just put your discard pile over here for you, Earth. So now, as I had said before, I have a way to play these 2 cards, but in actual fact, because that's going to give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this will cost me 5, right? 3 plus this one is going to cost 1 cheaper. So I can do any combination of it. I could do that, but that actually doesn't give me my innate, which also isn't great. So I don't have the sorry, let's move those along. Don't have a great turn lined up for Earth, which means I probably need to go digging for a card. So most likely going this with Earth, pulling from the bottom track and looking for a new card with Earth on that side of things, because otherwise I'm not really sure what I can do. I just can't reach anywhere. Having an extension of reach would be quite nice if I could defend it 4 in that land and remove a blight. That's the absolutely stone perfect card for that land. And I was nearly giving out to myself on the last turn for not noticing I needed to be closer to it, but I couldn't actually get there. Given that I needed to get a sacred side, I was never going to be able to actually reach over that far. But what I can do is, so I've got 1 energy for shadows. I think I might want to look for another card with shadows. I can do a couple of things. I can, assuming I'm going bottom track, I could do a G3 and play all 3 of these, but clearly this just gives me a defend of 3, so that's not really anything. That's for next turn. So we don't want to push to go to try do that. What we can do is we can go gain a power card, and then even playing 2 slows here could do something. So we don't even have access to a sacred site right now for our special rule. Or sorry, not our special rule, our innate power. So we need to find a way to do that. But I think I need to gain another power with shadows, because otherwise I just don't really have a turn lined up here. Again, we can combo the favors call do a little bit here, which is okay, but I'm not really sure what we're doing with that, because we wanted to combo that with Rituals of Destruction, but right now there's only one land that can potentially fit those two criteria, where it could be from shadows as well as reaching a sacred site from Earth, and that will be this land, which only has a single explorer, so that's not up to much. So I think I'm probably gaining a power card with both, because I'm running out of time here, and I'm going to need some majors. I'm going to need some help. This is where I'd be starting to dig for majors if I was playing without the power progression, and this is why I knew this would cause me quite some problems. But look, let's see. I'm going to go gain a power card with shadows. I can go potentially top track to give me that extra energy if I need it, so I will go with shadows. And where is my card? Here it is. Power progression. So Dark and Tangled Woods, and then Shadows of the Burning Forest. It's another minor power card, so not hugely exciting, I would say. Shadows of the Burning Forest, I'm trying to remember. It's a slow power, I'm pretty sure, at the very least. Pushes things, if I'm not mistaken, potentially causes some fear. And it can only go in certain lands as well, if I'm not mistaken, a bit like Dark and Tangled Woods. I think it goes in the same two land types. Could be wrong on this. Not a card I use all that much, if I remember correctly. Where are we? Tales of the Burning Forest. It's 0, yeah. So there it is. It exactly what I said. Generates some fear, and if it's one of those two land types, you can push some stuff out of there, which is quite okay. That gives me potentially a play this turn to solve one of our building mountains, which is okay, but it's not in one of the lands that I'm in, and it's range 0. So I'm going to potentially lose out on either my innate or that ability, depending. So with that in my hand, I can go to 3 card plays. I can technically hit if I would do something like this. No, because they're all slow, so I don't even get the rebate off them, so I can't do that either. I was going to say I could push to try hit my level 2 of my innate here, but that's not going to help me either, because I can't generate enough energy for that. So, Crops Wither and Fade. What can any of this do? Range 0. So the other thing I can do here, which I haven't really mentioned because I've never used it and I forgot, is use the special rule. So whenever you're using a power, you can pay 1 energy to target a land with the hand, regardless of the power's range. Which is making me wish I had saved Mantle of Dread. Mantle of Dread would have solved... Oh no, actually it wouldn't, because it targets the Annie. It doesn't target the land, it targets the player. So it wouldn't have worked either. I'm just not really seeing how I do much of anything here. One thing I'm thinking out loud here is that this again is one of our biggest problem lands, because it's losing us the hand as well as Blight Cascading, which is a disaster. Is there any way that I could just put a bunch of the hand in there, and then some of them die, and then you kind of, the rest get wiped out by the counter attack? So if, for example, if I could pull extra Dahan in there, if I could pull 2 more in there, they'd ravage for 4, 2 would die, and then there'd be 2 left over, which would kill them. So it'd be still a massacre, but I'd at least have an empty land, and it wouldn't be about to build and ravage again. But I can't even do that because I can only gather 1 Dahan. There's only 1 available to go in there, so that doesn't even work. I would need to potentially combo those 2 cards, which I could do if I use... No. Yeah, I could potentially do it like that. Yeah, that would give me that. But no, because I need to spend 1 energy twice. No, so I can't do that at all. We're in trouble here, I think. Earth, let's go and gain a power card. Let's see what that does for us. Let's flip this over. To go down, battles to the earth. Rouse the trees and stones. Minor. That's a damage power, if I remember correctly. And that deals 2 damage. There it is on the bottom. It's quite nice. Or I cut to it in the middle of the deck. 1 out of 98 or 97 or whatever's left in the deck, which is quite nice. So rouse the trees and stones. 1 from a sacred side, of course. 2 damage and push an explorer. So that's quite a nice card. You know, maybe doing something like that. Does that help me at all? Because that gives me my gift of strength again. So I could, you know, do this and then do it twice with gift of strength. How does that work? What does that do for me? Again, the problem is 1 away from a sacred side. I have nothing really happening within range of my sacred side, which is quite problematic. It hasn't worked out at all, folks, but you know, we tried. I did say that this was going to be an introductory game that we'd feel out of our depth in and totally overwhelmed by, and this is about how my first game of Spirit Island felt when I was playing. It was just like, how am I supposed to do anything? Everything is a disaster. I have no ways to play cards. I can't afford anything. I don't really know how the cards work, or in this case I'm getting stuck with single cards. I'm not really giving myself choices, you know. So I would say I've devised a game which has suitably overwhelmed me and left me feeling like I don't really have a chance in the thing. Maybe there's some differences I could have made in terms of spreading out with Earth, maybe potentially using the G3 a bit more, maybe just using a mix of G1 and G3 and forgetting the power cards altogether was another way to go about it with Earth. That might have been a better approach if I just stuck with trying to repeat, for example, the rituals plus the draw, and just trying to use the G1 and G3 to get across the map a bit more. That might have been a better way to go about doing this, actually. But yeah, alas, we sort of landed where we are. So trying to see what are our problem lands. So here's the other thing that I'll often do, and this is going to look ridiculous to do it now because I've got about 1,000 problem lands. So what I'll start doing is, in situations like this where I'm kind of lost and I don't know what to prioritize, I'll start putting markers down. And I'll start looking at the lands that are the absolute biggest problems for me, the ones I want to solve the most. Clearly here the wetlands are big problem lands, but we're not really able to do anything about any of them. This is just too far away. It's going to ravage and then it's going to build and then ravage again next turn, which is going to be a disaster. We have, for example, we have this land which we talked about, which is basically our biggest problem. This is another disaster land right here. That's going to be, hugely problematic for us. We have this land over here which has a Dahan in it, which would be nice to try to protect. But again, how are we protecting it? We could pull in two of those Dahan in there. That would give us 6, and then we could it'd attack for 5. There'd be 3 down in there, so 2 of them would die, and then we'd get an attack back at 2. So just kind of ways and around doing some amount of stuff there. I mean, that's probably a land I need to think about. I'm by the way, I'm not even putting the tokens onto the mountains because they're not double anything, so I'm just going to ignore them more or less. Is there anything I can do here with this land? Just starting to think, for example, is there anything that this does for me? So my innate power here, gift of strength, giving shadows the chance to repeat an energy cost for free, to repeat a power cost 1 or less for free. You don't have to pay for it, which is quite nice. But again, what is shadows repeating here? The Favors Called Do will be quite nice. The other thing I can potentially look at here, which I haven't mentioned already, is pushing to try to get a fear card. Again, a fear card's not solving any of these problems. These, Terror level 1 fear cards are just not solving these big lands for me. So, I could try do something where I combo off and try to kind of push for some fear, using potentially doubling up on this card and trying to rush through to get to my first fear card. But again, that's going to solve small lands rather than big ones. But, hopefully it's potentially solving this one for me. I think this is a land, as I mentioned before, it's got 2 to hand in it. We're just going to have to let that one go. So, hope that one of the events, or maybe if we can get a fear card and if we can push that hard, we potentially, get a defend, per the hand or something like that potentially helps us out there. So, here, this one is gone. Here, this one is clearly gone. This is a nice land, as I mentioned, because it's got the ravage and counter attack there. Otherwise, it will be nice to try get that something like that going over here. That's again the area where I'm trying to think, is there anything that could be done? Clearly here I can rouse the trees and stones and I can do 2 damage into a land and kill something, like an explorer. I can solve a build, which is, that's fine, but it's not really exciting. I could, chances are I'm doing this, right? Let's be kind of realistic about that. I'm definitely giving myself that defend just in case the event adds an extra damage onto that ravage. So that's going to be obvious, and I've already taken the presence action, so that's kind of what I've done there. I gained my extra 2, so these are things that are now no longer choices for me. So 2 plus the thing, so I've got 5 in there. Rituals of Destruction, again, what's that actually doing for me? I can do 2 damage into a land with the hand. It'd be so nice if I could reach this land, but I just can't. I'll probably just use it to solve one of these lands. No, I can't solve that land. Sorry, I thought I had a hand in there. I can't even solve that land. So yeah, I can, between Rouse the Trees and Rituals of Destruction, I can, potentially solve, these two lands from building, which is okay, but it's not exactly exciting, is it? 2 damage push a single explorer isn't exactly achieving anything for us either, so that's probably just a 2 damage full stop. We don't have a land with the extra Dahan with 3 Dahan in it, so we're not even getting the 2 fear off this. So right now we're talking about no fear unless I do something with the rituals. And then on this side of things, we've got Crops Wither once. We have, assuming we don't play these, we have Crops Wither maybe into a land somewhere. So range 1 can get us in somewhere where we replace a building with an explorer. Trying to think, even to play these 2 cards, it would have to be off the top like this, which could still be fine, but that's something we will have to do there, and that would give me 1 and 1. Play both of those, and then I get to do one of them again in the as a repeat. So in that case, then on this side I've got 2 fear plus, if I can get this, 3 fear. That'd be the 5. So I'd still be 1 short. So I'd need to use the gift of strength to find the last fear to give me a fear card, which I probably will do because it gives me a better chance of solving that land at the very least. Sometimes you'll get events that do things like solve or don't ravage in lands with the hand. I think there may be one that does that. You certainly have don't ravage in lands with your presence and things like that. But I'm just not really seeing any obvious path to solve the big lands. Clearly here we can solve some small stuff, like we can use the innate of shadows if I put this presence in one of these 3 lands. So again, I need to make a decision on where I go with that one. I'm trying to think. Favors Call Do. I definitely just want to hit the 3 fear off this, so I can't really combo with the Rituals of Destruction as such. So I can actually. I told a small guy there. I can actually do that. In fact, I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Remember, I talked about it before. It's actually coming up. So here, if I do Favors Call Do in there and gather some Dahan in there, then I use Rituals of Destruction in there to deal 5 damage to kill a single explorer, which is completely ridiculous. But it would at least give me the extra 2 fear, and then it's a way for me to enable this 3 fear. So if I can't come up with a better idea than that, that may well be what I try to do. The other thing I can try to do with Favors Call Do is I can try to pull some of those to hand into this land maybe, and use that to solve things next turn. That might be an option. If I do this, because Crops Wither and Fade isn't really doing anything for me right now, and it's also costing an energy. If I do that, then I could grow from bottom track, in theory. I'll just put that up there, and I could say potentially go across the bottom track instead. We're probably looking at a major coming up next with shadows. So in that case, I'll probably do it still like this. Take the 1, get the 1 extra. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it like this. And then, oh no, because I won't get to use my innate power. How's that worded? All powers are fast. Powers which are already fast cost 1 less energy. For innate powers and power cards costing 0, instead gain 1 energy. Can I actually use this? Is the question. If I don't have the sacred site, do I still gain the thing? If you skip using the text effects of a power, are you still considered to have used that power? No. If you target a power, you must actually attempt to perform its text effects. Can you target a power on a land where you know it won't do anything? Yes, you can target as long as it doesn't thing. Okay, so neither of those specifically answer the question that I had just now. When does it reduce the cost of a fast power? When you play power cards by paying their cost, yeah, you do the reduce. When you use a fast innate power that has the potential to do something, gain 1 energy as a refund. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and say that won't work because I can't. It hasn't attempted to do something because I don't have the sacred site to target it. So if I don't get this, I'm not going to gain the energy. So I'm scrambling here, folks. I'm really scrambling. As you can clearly see, there's about 100 different problems happening on the board right now, and I'm scrambling to try to think: can I let enough of this go and potentially recover with a major power with shadows next turn? Is kind of what I'm thinking right now. Earth, I'm not so sure we're getting anywhere near there with Earth. As I say, I maybe should have stuck with the minor or the uniques approach with them. But we may be able to do something with a little bit of fear here is the other thing. So let me see. Skip all actions and target land. So we're going to have to year perfect stillness one of those awful wetlands next turn at least to stop the Blight Cascade, so that's fine. And the Defender 4 somewhere might be helpful next turn as well. Again, not 100% sure exactly where that might happen. But yeah, it sort of is what it is. So what I was thinking in that case was if I go in here, use Shadows of the Burning Forest in there, push those out, that would be attacking for 3, 4, 5 next turn, and I can do a defend of 3, and that doesn't even do it. But if I do it with Crops Wither and Fade, it would. So I think that is the plan. And I only go to, yeah, okay. I have some kind of a plan. Some kind of a plan. It's not great. It's certainly not great. But kind of it is what it is. So I'll go from top track. We'll take a 1 from there. We do our presence and we'll add it in there at range 1, as I said. This is going to cost me 1. They're both going to be fast. I have the innate, but I'm not going to get to use it because I've no sacred side. So we're kind of all over the place here. This is not ideal. That's going to be Shadow's turn. Earth's turn, as we said, I think is going to look like this because we need the fear to try get us that fear card. So we're going to go add a presence at range 0, which we did. We took the 2, so we're now going to go rituals cost us 3. Rouse the trees and stones cost us 1. We've got 1 left over, and we do hit this innate, which is going to give us a single energy back. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it. We are going to fast speed over here. We're going to go favors called do. I think we are going to, yeah, we have to, oh no, 1, 2, 3, yeah, okay. Actually, I've changed my mind. I'm sorry, because I made 2 different plans. One was I'm going to pull all those Dahan in there and then I'm going to defend it, but then I forgot I needed to do the Dahan over here, so that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to change my mind. I may still Shadows of the Burning first, and I may do that, for example, into... Yeah, I'm just going to put this into, I think, that land there at range 1. So I'm going to let this land go. It's just going to blind. It's just going to be the way it is. And we'll solve that land instead. So I'm going to do it this way. This way I get to use my favors call doing there, and I don't have to worry about that land at all. So, okay. And this gets me that way over the thing. Okay, so we have our plan. Slightly different, but it's happening this way. So let's start to resolve. 0, 2 fear. If it's mountain or thing, push the 2, push this, and I'm going to push this into, so I've got stuff that works in jungles and mountains, so I think I'll push you in there. That's fine, it's somewhere over around where I am anyway, so that's that one. Now I've got gather up to 4, and if invaders are now present, I think outnumbered them 3 fear, so I will do that in here, and I'll just gather the 2 of these, I think, yeah, because I want to keep them around there if I'm going to use them. So I'll gather them in there, and that's now 3 fear. 1, 2, 3. Now on this side of things, I've got at range 1 in a land without blight, I can deal 2 damage, so I will deal 2 damage in here. Kill those. No, I lied, because that's defended already next turn, so I'm just going to kill this. This is going to attack, and then it's going to build, and then ravage again, but all of that is solved with that sacred side, so I can just leave that alone. So I'm going to solve that land with this. Then I'm going to do 2 damage in here, and then if it had 3, I'm going to get the extra 2 damage, or 3 damage and 2 fear. So that's going to be a total of 5 damage to kill the single explorer, but I will gain the 2 fear. Yeah, so 3, 5. So yeah, I think I miscounted actually before. I said I was going to need the repeat to gain the fear card, but it's not actually going to be the case. So I am going to then finally use this, and this is going to give me a repeat of something, of anything in this case. If I gather in there, then next turn those 2 cards can actually solve that ravage, which actually is pretty good. So I got to do this anyway, unless I'm mistaken. So I can still do the favors call do, gather those 3 Dahan in there to solve that land. Otherwise, what else am I doing with this? I can gather 3 Dahan in there, and that's going to ravage for 6. It's going to kill them all, so that won't work. I can gather that one in there, and that would be 2, 4, and then 1 more. So the 2 of them would die, but it would kill the town. So that's not awful, but I won't gain the extra 3 fear by gathering that in. It's a pity. I'm missing 1 short. If that had an extra Dahan in there, that would be quite nice. Clearly here we lost 1 over there earlier in the game, which sort of hurt us on that front. Otherwise, is there anything else I can do? Pulling them in here doesn't matter. Pulling them in here, I can't reach it anyway, so that's not a thing. I think I will. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to try solve this land. So I'm going to pull all of those in there, but I won't gain the extra 3. But it gives me a shot at starting to clean that land, which I think will matter. So then next turn, what I end up having to do is grow in there again with this. That will give me, I'll have enough energy to do it, and I can try to gain a major, I think. And then that will give me a defend a 3 plus push. So I'll push them out. No, I don't. That was that card. I'm just inventing cards here now, so no, that actually won't work. So we're not going to do that plan. We're just going to try use this to gain an extra 3 fear. Where are we going to do it? We're going to do it. I could pull those Dahan out of there, but I'm actually not going to. I'm going to try dig for a fear card, and I'm going to try see is there anything that can be done. And what I think I will do is I'm actually going to pull that in there with this extra use of that card, so I at least kill the town and it doesn't build a city. That will help. That'll give me an extra shot at trying to solve that land next turn. So that's what I'm going to do over there. It also gives me if I hit a defend 1 per Dahan, that solves that land, whereas that wouldn't be solved before because it only would have defended 2. So okay, that's everything I'm done. I don't gain the fear from that, but I still do have the fear card. We're not using that. We've used this already, so I gain my 1 energy. Everything is done. We're now going to the spirit phase, and we're still only turn 2, and we're a long way into the video, but hopefully some of these concepts are starting to come together where in future videos clearly I will be able to play a lot faster. So ethereal conjunction, in this case I get a choice. I can either, each spirit chooses a presence to destroy a presence and lose an energy, which is okay, not great because I don't really want to be doing that, or choose a non-major power card of yours in your hand, play or discard, use it immediately even if you've already used it this turn, and then forget it and discard all power cards from hand. Oh god, that's awful. I do not want to be doing either of those 2 things. The other thing that happened with the rest of this card is disease doesn't prevent builds this invader phase, which isn't great over there, but it is what it is. I will get some fear at least per board with this disease, which is 2. And then I also get on each board with 5 or more Dahan, remove a blight in a land with Dahan. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll get to remove that blight. I might as well do it now. It's quite nice. And then on this board, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I actually got to do it in both lands. That was amazing. So I got to remove, that was a super card, because that at least stops that Blight Cascade, which is quite nice, although it didn't give me the defend per Dahan, which would have been better. Okay, and then the other thing I get is 1 fear per board with disease, which is 1, 2, so I get 2 fear as well. So I just did this kind of bottom to top instead, but I don't gain any extra information. So usually, of course, you read the card top to bottom. So in this case, I think, because I don't want to non-major power card, put it in play, use it, and then forget it. So I can each... Yeah, like I can play something and forget. I don't want to do that. And then I also don't want to discard either, because it forces a reclaim over here, which I definitely don't want to do with shadows. And do I want to be reclaiming with Earth? Not really. I want to probably be gaining the energy next turn with Earth, so I don't really want to do that for either. So I think I will do the destroy an energy or destroy a thing and lose an energy. Definitely far from ideal, but I need my cards. So I will. I'll go ahead and destroy 1 presence token personally. That can be gone, and that can be gone. They're reminders from the previous turn. I'll destroy a presence per thing, so I'll probably just go ahead and destroy this one on shadows, so that's dead. And then over here I want to stick with my sacred side, so I'll destroy that as well. So that's fine. So they're both gone, and I've lost both an energy. Not great, but I don't really want to be forcing, as I say, the reclaim. So that's that, all done. Let's go ahead and please let's hit a defend per the hand. On each board, remove 1 explorer from a land matching a ravage card. Not ideal, but actually that's not too bad either. That kind of saves us, believe it or not. So over here, and this is on each board, which is the we do get to do this on each board. So removing that actually saves this land. It's still blight, but pulling that thing in got us the win, which is pretty good. So I'll remove that from there. Over here, remove a thing from a land matching a ravage card. So this is going to die anyway, so I'll remove you, and then a land matching a ravage card over here. This is still going to be safe, as I said from before, so I could remove that to stop a build, which could be helpful, but I would like a chance, if at all possible, to potentially do something in that land next turn, and doing that, also removing that might help. So I'm going to remove that from there, and I'm going to leave this one. So that's what I do from there. That's fine. We've done our thing now. Let's go to the ravage. So over here we go blight. Ouch. Over here we're going to go blight, and we do go ouch. We lose 1 Dahan, but then we fight back and we deal 4, which is really nice, and it clears that land. So that's going to give us a fear. So we found a way somehow, roundabout way, but we did get there eventually. So that was really good in there, and it only cost us 1 Dahan. So we really happy about that. Over here we've got that one dies on the ravage. This one we go big blight again, which is not good news. Over here we go blight again. In here we lose the Dahan, so that's not great news again either. And then in here we go safe. So we took some blight. Things are still looking pretty bad, but we're kind of somehow slightly getting through it. So that was the ravage. Now we go build. Let's get the old box of invaders out. So again, I'm going to, in this side of things, I'm going to go build here. We're going to go skip. I'll do the wetlands first. So skip. Over here we'll go build. And this is a horror show land. We go skip. In here we go build. And then over there we go build. So problems all around us. And then now we'll do the mountains. We go build. We go skip. We go over here, remove this. No, we don't, because that told us that we're not allowed to use the disease. So we're actually going to build. The disease stays there, but we go skip, and then here we go skip, and then we go build. So next turn, that one at least is going to be quite nice, because that's saved by the special rule of Earth. Otherwise, that's all of our builds done, which was awful. And then we'll go explore, and at least it's not a a mountain, because back-to-back mountains there would have been problematic. But actually, looking at it now, hitting that jungle is somehow arguably even worse. So that's not great news. So let's pull out the old. I think I'm just going to quickly look. We have the escalation, and the escalation happens before the explorer, so I'll just do that, and it's on each board. Add a town to a land without a town, which is fine. I can do that in here, and I'll do it on that land. On this side of things, I'll do it in this land, and then on that side I'll do it in there. So I'm just doing it in sands, which is the one thing that we're not really touching right now. I'm not thinking about inlands or anything. Pocketing is a thing of the distant past. I'm nowhere near pocketing anymore. And then, sorry, I'll pick the invaders back up again, and I'll explore again. We go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 5, 6, and then we have to choose on each board somewhere to add an extra explorer. This is not looking great, is it? I'm just going to hope that we pick up an event next turn, or a fear card that lets us remove. So I'm going to keep some single explorer lands and hope that we get ways to solve them. So I'm going to push you in there. Similarly on this board, I'm going to do this. No, so what I can potentially do that, because we've got a lot of event cards that do beast events where they maybe deal 2 damage or something like that. So I think in this case I might do that there, and this is going to be another big problem for us over there. But one less. One less explorer is potentially not changing that, is it? Oh, you know what? No, we'll go there. Okay. So that's that, and that's also going to be a coastal land, which is potentially hitting us there as well. I'm sorry I didn't do it on this board because they're both absolutely awful. In this case, they're basically the exact same, except this one already has one more explorer than that one, and that one is closer to my presence. Will that matter or not? Maybe yes, maybe no. Let's just put it in there. Okay, done everything. Let's wrap it up and let's go to the next turn. Yeah, this isn't looking great, is it? But at least now we get a shot at a major. I'm pretty sure, given that I've done 2 minors for shadows, that I should be looking to dig into a major power here, and hopefully it's not that absolutely dreadful one in the game that like has shadows in the art. I can't remember what Grand Hatred or Ravenous Form, because if it's that one, it's going to be a catastrophe. But hopefully it won't be that one. So let's see. We're going to go back to growth. We'll get you back there, and then we will go, in this case, back for shadows, gain a power. We're going to go to the major, or we're going to go to the power progression deck in a moment. We're either going to go top track or bottom track, depending what we need in terms of, do we need the 3 energy or do we need to play the 3 cards. So I think we're going to start there, because that's definitely what's happening with shadows. So let's go power progression, and it's a Jungle Hungers. Okay, that is not bad. That is not bad at all. The Jungle Hungers. Anybody knows the Jungle Hungers, they know we're going to be pretty happy to pick that up with 3 moon elements staring right back in our face. So the Jungle Hungers. There's one stuck. No. Okay, so this could potentially do something for us, because this kills towns and it kills a single city with each use as well. And we've got loads of moons, so this one should be quite nice. There's that Grand Hatred, horrible card. Where's the Jungle Hungers? Come on. There we are. Jungle Hungers. Oh no, it's not. It's lucky boy. I forgot. I was thinking the Jungle Hungers was a threshold needed 3 moon. It doesn't. It needs 3 plant, but we actually are quite lucky that we have it staring back at us. So if there was a way, which there won't be, to do like this, yeah, that's not going to work, is it? Because that'll give us, no, it's not even remotely going to work. So, okay, so what about if we take from top track and we do 2 card play, we do the Jungle Hungers and Dark and Tangle Woods, that can work. Won't give us the threshold on the Jungle Hungers, but it could be a turn. We of course have to move all of that along. So we've got Mountains Ravaging. And unfortunately, nowhere near us is there a ravaging mountain that we need to defend. I don't have a... Actually, I do. I can go 1 to there and then defend that land. So that's got to be good. So that gives us that. Oh, so close. Oh, that 1 energy last turn killed us. If we had 1 more energy, what we could do here is we could go move in there, grow in there, wipe that land, and then reach over and defend that land. And unfortunately, we just don't have a way for that to work. But we've almost surely got a Jungle Hungers in there. That's almost certainly got to happen. Don't have a way to get the extra plant. Just as a matter of interest, we do have a 0 costing Shadows of the Burning Forest in there. It's a pity the way it worked out that turn when we were thinking about the difference between these 2 cards. I think if we'd have done it the other way around, no, actually, yeah, maybe not. Okay, anyway, that's that on that side. So not 100% sure how that's all going to work out, but it's going to look something along those lines. Now for Earth, the question is, so we can go top, we can go this and we can go this. If we gain a power card and we add a presence and we start to dig towards those majors that are going to hopefully get us out of this mess. If I do that, that at least gives me both of those, because I gain 3 plus the 1. They cost 2 less each, and I can at least play those 2 cards. So I know that worst case scenario, gaining a power card here, no matter what it is, I at least have that going on if I go top track. So that's something. Also, if I gain just a minor here and I go instead bottom track towards the 3 and 4 card plays, that potentially gives me a way into this as well. Because again, defend a 4 doesn't get me anywhere here. I don't actually have a land to defend 4 in. I can't reach that one, unfortunately. So I think I am going to gain a minor power. Or I'm going to gain a power, which I think, as I said before, is probably a minor, and I'm going to try that with you. So we're going to go minor, gain a power, and vital strength of the earth. It's called to migrate. Minor power. Called to migrate? Hang on a second, isn't that absolutely not at all? Isn't this the one that just moves the hand? And it's not at all the elements of earth. I could be wrong. Call to trade, yeah, that's not it. That's the card I was thinking of. Is that really? Wow. Gives you something that's just completely and utterly out of your elements. My goodness me. That does almost nothing for us. It moves some Dahan, I guess, but I mean, I guess it gives us a kill on a building, which is something. So if I swap that for that, because Guard the Healing Land wasn't doing it for us anyway, swap that for that, and then a year of perfect stillness somewhere. This is giving me what, a range 0. Yeah, it's bad. Range 0 is bad. Again, I'm pushing the thing here with Earth, but it could be that I potentially was supposed to reclaim. But okay, well, it is what it is. I mean, I can actually literally just play this, because a skip doesn't do anything for me either. I can underplay here a little bit. The skip is useless for me. So if I just play Call to Migrate, take my 3 energy from here, go top track. Actually, in fact, no, don't even do that. Go bottom track. Take my 2 energy. Just thinking again, it's probably major power turn next turn. But then I'm just going to keep going 0 button, and I just keep doing it that way. Oh, it's horrible. Oh, I'm just getting nowhere. I'm going nowhere on this board. I was going to say I could do a gather. I could drop extra the hand in there to kind of solve that land. Again, I probably just have to hope for that one, that we get a Dahan defend in there. Sure, a skip in that land stops it being absolutely awful, but I could just potentially skip that next turn instead, is sort of what I'm thinking. Where am I pushing? I could push some Dahan in here to get a single building kill, but that's not really up to too much either. Over on this side of things, we have defend of 3. Defend of 3 doesn't do much for us either, so I think we might end up just doing a single Jungle Hungers ? And then next turn we look to play 3 cards with these plus another, and then reclaim the following turn. So not ideal, but kind of potentially gets us somewhere. Jungle Hungers in there. Yeah, I had mentioned before about pushing over. I couldn't clearly do this. Jungle Hungers in there doesn't work. But Jungle Hungers in here works. It leaves a city behind, but I could technically defend that with that. So that's a thing. That stops it blighting, which isn't awful. Don't have any Dahan in there, which is also not great. But this way, at least, I can go in there and I could defend that land doing that. Such a pity. Yeah, only gaining 1 energy, so I'm nowhere near enough able to play all 3 of these cards. But if I reclaim, what I'm thinking about is... No, that won't work either. So you're going to play the Jungle Hunters, then reclaim next turn, but then I still don't have the building kill or the city kill on the Jungle Hungers. So I might still... Got to defend that. That's got to happen. So that goes there. And we gain 3, which pays for the Jungle Hungers. And then this one is free. So that's fine. And that gives me a solve in there. And I was thinking I could potentially... No, yeah, I could Jungle Hungers in here, which stops the build. It's not great at all. It's not even remotely great. It's absolutely awful. If I do it in there, I get 2 fear out of the deal. So what are we at now? We're at 2, and then that will be 4, and it'd still be I'd still be 2 short, in fact. But there's nothing I can do about that. So I'm not going to actually hit a fear card no matter what I do here. So I think I will probably just look to pick up the extra. Yeah, I could also Jungle Hungers in here, but again, it's the same sort of story as over here. Much the same. Jungle Hungers in here doesn't stop that. It doesn't really stop. Doesn't solve any land, unfortunately. Unfortunately, it doesn't solve any land, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, we're going to do this. So 3 thing, and then over here I'm going to pay the 1 for this awful card. I can't believe that's the card they gave me. Okay, so let's do it. I'm going to gather 3, push up to 3, and I'm going to use it to solve this. I think, you know, I could set up a reclaim for the Rituals of Destruction next turn by doing that. If I push it in there, if I do a gather thing and push the 3 in there, how does that set me up? I can do 5 damage in there next turn, but I'm still going to have ravage of 6. Wow. But it's probably not a bad idea. Better than doing this, but that means I'm going reclaim next turn. Yeah, you know what, that's better. Rather than digging for a major next turn, so I can go reclaim it. It just gets me away. It's going to get me across the board instead of just continually pressing that 0 button. So I am going to reclaim, and then next turn I'll have 3 card plays. And I'll have 4 energy, so I can do rituals plus like draw and whatever, one of the others. So okay, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm not going to go for this building kill. I'm going to pull in 3 to hand and then push 3. So in that case, I will go pull. These aren't being used. I'll go 1. I'll keep them there. Yeah, so I'll pull those 3 in to here and then push those 3 in there. So I'll do that with that card. That's done. Not going to get my kill in here, but that's fine. Over here then I'm going to go 2 fear, defend of 3 in there. And then I'm going to do a Jungle Hungers, and I have my choice of either this land or this land are the only real decent options for that. I can also do it in here, but those, at least those 2 give me a shot at potentially solving a ravage. Defend per Disease, yeah, it's not really going to happen. It's not really going to matter either. So a stage 2 card, we also haven't hit either of these as a stage 2 card, so it's a kind of a pick your choice. I think in this case I'm just going to give a shot here just in case there's a defender 2 for whatever reason next to here, for example. So I'm going to try in here. Jungle Hunger's in here, so that's going to kill all of those, and that's going to give me 2 fear. Not great, to be honest. You'd be looking for more than that out of your card. The other thing I guess I could have done with this Call to Migrate is go gather and then push and then put 3 to hand in there, so when it ravages at least it fights back and it kills the city, but that's not really getting that much done for me. I'm not progressing anywhere. I'd be hoping again for the hand defend, but I think I need to progress a little bit in and solve my problem starting next turn. So that's what I'm going to do. We're all done. Let's move forward. The event is Healthy Island Still. On each board add a explorer to a land with a blight. Not great. Okay, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3. That's actually fine in there. That works. What else do I have here? In each land with cities, 1 damage per. Each land with buildings, 1 damage per the hand. Then each surviving building deals 1 damage to the hand. Oh god, this is a disaster. Actually, no, it's not. Sorry. It's potentially quite good. I'm just looking over here. I thought it was a disaster here, but no, it actually works out quite well in there. If I had pushed it a hand in here, it would have solved the ravage, which is fair enough, but you know, you kind of get what you can. We did get a beast event which solves that land, which is quite nice. So what we're doing in this case is we added in here. We will add, so we aren't going to get something to solve that. I think we still do this anyway, and then actually no, you can put it there. And then on this board we have 2 choices, and again we're not solving that land, so we might as well just throw it in there. Okay, so that's that. Then we do on each board push up to 2 or a building from a land with the beast. So we can push you. We can actually push you in here. That's going to work quite well. We'll see momentarily why. Over here we can push this. I'm not sure that we want to. We can consolidate our threats a little bit into one of the lands and move it away from there, but we don't know for sure. What's coming up. We aren't getting. Oh no, actually push that in there. That's going to be amazing. What am I talking about? And then in this land we don't have anything, so that's fine. Then the last step of the thing is raiding and retaliation in each land with buildings. So this isn't like once per board or whatever. It's in each land with buildings. 1 damage per Dahan, and then each surviving building deals 1 damage to Dahan. Okay, so now we're looking at each land with buildings and Dahan basically, which on this board is here. So we do 1 damage per Dahan, so we kill this. That's a fear, which is quite nice. And then there's none left to retaliate, which is why I pushed that in there, so that's going to be that. On this board we deal 3. Over here we kill this city, which is going to be 2 more fear, so 1 plus 1 more, and that's a fear card, which is quite nice. And then this only deals 1 single damage back to the hand. So our Dahan are all safe, which is amazing. So then the rest of this board then, oh actually here we have a problem, but we have a defend of 3. So what it says here is then each surviving building deals 1 damage to Dahan. And defend applies normally. So in here actually we get 1 damage here, and then this deals 1 damage back, but the defend is there, so it's fine, which is actually going to help us in the ravage, which is quite nice. And then we have over here, this kills this. I don't know that I've ever resolved this, or at least I'm sure I have, but I just don't remember because this is super powerful. This seems super broken. I also got it over here as well. Kill this, that's another fear. So, am I reading that right? In each land with buildings, 1 damage per the hand, then each surviving building deals 1 damage. Yeah, so it's every single thing. That's like the hand insurrection type of thing, which was super cool. Okay, that was amazing. That gave us a little bit of a... We're coming back into it a tiny bit here, so let's keep going. We've now got a fear card to resolve, so let's resolve it. It's unrest. Each player adds a thing to a town. Unfortunately, it's a town, not a city. So I've got each player, which is... it's only 2 of us, not 3. Oh no, on each board. Yeah, I thought, sorry, I potentially cheated last time. Did I cheat anywhere else here with each player stuff? No, I guess I didn't. So it's each player adds a thing to a town. So in this case, do we have a town anywhere that we can save a ravage? No, I guess we don't. So in that case, then we will... So if I do that in here, then it's going to build a city, and then I'm going to deal 5, which will kill the city plus 2 of those, and it actually still won't solve that ravage, but it'll be pretty close. So I think I'll probably do that, question mark. I think so. And then over here, I'll probably... I think this land is just going to be gone again. I still think I'm not going to get over to touch that land, so I think I'm more likely to be able to solve this one, given I'm sort of close to it. So I'll put that in there, give myself a better chance at solving that land. So that's that. Let's go ahead and ravage. Over on this board, ravage, they all die. No. Ravage, blight cascade. Ouch. We go 1, and then we'll cascade into there. Before I flip this blight card, I'm now going to solve any more safe ravages. So over here we've got, this is a safe ravage, and we're going to attack back for 2. This already has 1 on it, so that's going to go die, and we're going to generate a fear. What else do we have? A safe. This is safe. This is going to be awful. Safe. So I'll basically resolve all the safe ravages first. I'll do that one as well. And now the only ones that are left are basically this one and this one. The reason you do this, when I'm kind of resolving stuff like this, I'll potentially go, actually, maybe I will, resolve that one first rather than that one, because sometimes you flip a card that changes how the layout of the board looks, but in this case, it probably doesn't matter. So I'll pick, I think, this one first. So I'll go Blight in there, and that's going to go Blight Cascade. I'll need to flip the card first, and it's Aid from Lesser Spirits, and I only have 2. I have 2. This is 2-handed, not 1-handed, so I'm going to be in big trouble. I think I actually might lose here. So it's 2 per player. Remind me how this works. It's 2. So wait, base the size of your blight pool and the number of island boards rather than the number of players. So it's going to be 3 boards, which is 3 per player. But then we have, with Blitz, we say put 1 less per player on the card. So again, we added 1 extra at the start, but this time we take 1 away. So I would usually add 3 per player, which would be 9, but in this case now we're going to remove 3, and it's going to be 6. So actually no, I don't lose. I thought it was worse than it was. So I add 6 total. Aid for Lesser Spirits, by the way, is amazing. I haven't had this one for ages, so this might give us a chance. We'll see. So we're going to go 6, but we now have to add 1, which we will cascade into here. And then over here, we're also going to have to add 1, and then we will cascade that into... I'll cascade it into that land there, because we have potentially scope for getting saved by a beast. And then I add 3 more total, right? So flipped, added 6, and we added 1 plus 1 plus 1. So we have 3 more blight left on the card. Not great news. However, we have Aid from Lesser Spirits. Sorry, that's not the blight card. The blight card is over here. Aid from Lesser Spirits. Immediately, draw 1 minor power card per player plus 1 more. So, where are the minor power cards? Oh yeah, this is funny. I didn't think I was going to have to use these, but I'm not drafting. Now I am doing Aid for Lesser Spirits. So this gives us some spirity goodness in the background, and I would love to find something, absolutely desperately love to find something that had a plant on it for shadows, which gave us the jungle hunger's ability easier to hit, which would be fantastic. And then over on this side of things with earth, we would probably like to find something with earth, maybe plant, to help us hit those innates as well. So one of those would be quite good too. So we'll give this a quick shuffle up. Maybe we'll grab those from there, and we'll do one last tiny shuffle, and then we will draw one minor power card per player plus one more. 1, 2, 3. That's 3 cards there, and put those off to the side again. And what did we hit? We hit Roiling Bog and Snagging Thorn, Bat Scout for Raid by Darkness, and Inflame the Fires of Life. So we hit some quite nice ones. This is almost certainly going to shadows because it's got the plant as well as the other two. So that's practically guaranteed to be for shadows. And then other than that, for earth over here, we have either Bats Scout for Raids by Darkness. So that gives us damage per Dahan. So we can use this potentially to either move the hand or deal damage to the hand. And then over here we have a Isolate and a Defend 2 with Roiling Bog. This gives me some range, so I think I'm going to go ahead and use that. It's not great for the elements, otherwise this one will give us a plant element. We actually, in theory, we could do that for shadows. What does that do for shadows if we swap these over and we gave earth the other one instead? Does that make any difference? Not really. I like the range 2 in here. It gives us something to work with. Which isn't bad. Over here with shadows, this card actually does either add a disease or add do a fear and add a strife, which is okay. I think I'll just take the 2 1-cost cards. You know what? Tiebreaker. Let's throw away the Roiling Bog. We'll just take a 1-cost each, so that's fine. Doesn't help us with our elements with earth, but we'll figure that out later. Inflame the Fires of Life here for shadows, quite nice. We don't have a Sacred Side at the moment, but we will get one quite soon, hopefully, because we need to start using this innate as well. So I think we're good. That's all done. Given the fact that this happened in the Ravage, these are considered fast power, so I won't get to use them this turn, which is kind of awkward because they're both slow. It would have been nice in the slow phase, but that's the way it goes. And then, by the way, they get to be used every turn. So starting next turn, I'll get to use them one each. So I'll place these up into my kind of played card area and leave them there. Same over here. Okay. So I think we're pretty okay now. We've done what did we do there? That was the Ravage. We resolved the Ravage, and that was all of the ravaging done. So now we go build, and we are almost at a blight, which is a problem because we've got quite a few lands, but we may be able to find a way back into this game yet. So that's build, no, or sorry, yes, no. Over here, yes. Yes, I mean, just everything has invaders and everything has blight. Blight cascades are going to be a disaster here as well. So no, I think we actually are still very much out of this game. Build over here and then build over there. Again, we just haven't really had the action economy going in this game to really be able to deal with what's happening across the board. But it is what it is, I guess. Over here, we'll flip the coastal lands. Yeah, that was the one I said. That's not ideal. We definitely did not need a tri-land or a triple land right now. That's we couldn't afford any more bad luck basically, and we've kind of hit it. So we'll go 1 and 1. Over here we're going to go 1 and 1, and then over here we will do 1 and 1. And then again we have to choose 1 land per board, where we add an additional explorer. I presume that's, yeah, let me see. When exploring once per board, add an additional explorer. Okay. So this is I'm just gonna visualize this in my mind. That's gonna move over, and then we're gonna go ravage in there, and then we're gonna go build in there. So I think, to be honest, again, we're just gonna do that, because what else are we gonna do? We're gonna add that in there. Over here, I think, again, probably just do that too, even though that's a bit to ravage. I kind of get across. I can't jungle hunger, so I can't reclaim and reach there. This is one from a jungle, and then 2 away. But again, what else am I going to do? I'm just going to have to hit and hope with that one. And then over here, across the 3, we'll just do into there, because that might get killed. Okay, that's it. And then we go back to growth. We're going to lose on this turn almost certainly, because again, we just don't have enough actions to stop all of what's happening. But let's at least make a try. We're trying to, as much as we can, go down the bottom track with both spirits, but because we kind of ended up in a certain spot over here with shadows, sort of ended up being the way we sort of went with him, which is, you know, okay. It's kind of the way it worked out. But yeah, we're not going to have any kind of inroads to solve the 5 ravages that are happening on this turn, and of the 5, all of them are in blighted lands. So we could let 1 through. We basically have to solve 4 ravages happening right now. I don't even think we can do that, let alone deal with all the rest of the stuff that's happening in all the rest of the lands. So we're done. We never placed this. I was just going to place this, and it didn't matter because it was a range 0. I forgot to do that last turn. I was just going to be into one of those lands, and then now we're back to growth. So what we said with Earth was we could dig for a major, or we could reclaim that rituals to try deal with potentially this, and also give us a chance to get across the board a little bit more, which I think we kind of have to do here. So I think what we're looking to do with Earth is, we free information here. So let's assume I do this, and I add a presence from most likely bottom. That would give me 2 energy off the top track, plus the 2 I already have, and then I could play potentially, I think at this moment, well, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, no, so I'll have the rituals in that land. So that solves basically, or it close to solves that land. Again, we need to get a bit lucky and try to hit like a defend or something in there. So, but we'd assume 1 action for 1 land. So we would reclaim and play rituals in there. We would then have not enough to play. We could only play 1 more card. Yeah, 2 + 1 + 1, 4. So these are all slow, which is unfortunate. We've just hit basically all slows, all slow pairs. I was gonna say we could do like yeah, we're just miles away from anything, aren't we? Draw the fruitful earth does not do anything for us, not as such. It gives us the innate, which is kind of okay. So something to that effect, potentially. And that will put these cards back in our hand. So just kind of temporarily looking at that. On this side of things, I've got Cropped Wither in hand. Again, power progression. If I knew I could dig for a major right now, I might not reclaim, and I might go in the tank and go for a major, but I'm just assuming that power progression is just going to give me another minor here, which is unfortunate. So it hampers me, but I think I probably have to reclaim and then look for a card that way, and then go and try, dig for something next turn. So if I reclaim, I at least can reclaim and solve this land, which with the Jungle Hungers, which is not nothing. So for reclaim, get those cards back in my hand, and then I could play, I'd get 3 energy. I could play Jungle Hungers, plus that 0 I talked about before, and that would give me the Jungle Hungers actually leveled up. Although I don't even need it now, ironically. So let's say I don't do that because I don't need it. What if I do a Concealing Shadows? No, it's not going to do anything. I think let's just reclaim anyway. So we reclaim and then we look for a minor here. So let's take our power progression for Shadows. Land of Haunts and Embers. That's another push card, I think, similar to the one I have already. There it is. Oh, it's this card, of course. No, I'm thinking about the wrong card. No, that doesn't help us at all. We have no Blight to work with, so that's an absolutely terrible card. I can play it for its elements, which, you know, that's fine. But yeah, for some reason I was thinking it was the same as this card. But I can't actually play that card because that's the one I have in my hand already. So let's say, assume I play this, and that solves that. I finally, ironically, get the leveled up Jungle Hungers, but it doesn't matter because I'm trying to use it in this land, which is kind of silly. I don't really have a better way around that. And that would just kind of be that. This would give me a -1. I could also play a 1 cost. What do 1 costs do for me here? Does that do anything for me? A 1 cost, I could put a bunch of Dahan in there and potentially use Bat Scout to help. So I think actually that might be better. And then just hope that this land just kind of gets solved by itself with some sort of, you know, defend per presence or whatever. So use Favors Called Do in there. Doesn't get me the fear, which would be unfortunate. But I think that potentially does something for me. Inflame the Fires of Life. I also don't have the Sacred Side to use that one either. But if I do this, actually, what am I talking about? The Jungle Hungers can solve that land clean if I play one of these cards. So if I do this, actually I've got 3 different options. Dark Entangle Woods. This, yeah, let's do this. Potentially here. This would cost me 3 and 1. So that would, I could play that. That would give me, I still can't use my my innate also, but if I do this, I can Jungle Hungers that land. Corpse Wither and Fade isn't really doing much for me. Shadows of the Burning Forest could push. Yeah, I'm just trying to see. Again, the game is almost over here. I know we're running quite long on this playthrough because I'm doing a lot of kind of trying to talk through the concepts and things here. But I'm trying to see. I think I've got to do that there. Then after that, where am I going? I've got Rituals of Destruction I can do in there, so that solves that land up there. Not solves, but it gets close enough that that's all I can do, and I have to just hope for a bit of good luck with that one. Then if I do Draw the Fruitful Earth, I can gather some stuff. Potentially, for example, gather these 2 out of here. That could be a thing I could do. Otherwise, because what I'm also thinking about is how do I do bats, you know, use the bats to deal some damage to something. So if I got some Dahan somewhere, I can potentially do that. This gathers the hand, but I'm too far away for that to really matter, unfortunately. You know, I can't reach across. I can reach across with bats, but I can't reach across with the Draw the Fruitful Earth. What I can do over on this side is I could use the favors called do, but it doesn't have the plant for this one, so that doesn't work either. So I think I probably have to play it something like this and do a defend a 3 somewhere, which that gives me a defend a 3, but it costs me money. I can do this, which won't cost me anything, and hope that this is another major next turn to potentially do something for me. That might be, you know, a way out of this in a tiny sense. So let's maybe do that. So that mean I would. Oh, it costs the same, doesn't it? Doesn't actually even. It's not even any cheaper because this is fast, and that is slow. So we might as well save the elements, the fire, for potentially the innate, something like this. That gives me a defend of 3 somewhere. Defend of 3 and pushing things are the same thing essentially in this case. So we're still not really solving much of anything here. This is the one we're going to let go. So assume that goes Ravage and then Blight Cascade in there. We're not getting anywhere near that land. So that's going to be the 2, which goes in there. So then can we solve the rest is basically what we're saying. So we can go solve, semi-solve. We did our best. We're not going to do any better with it. Then we can go either gather or deal damage with the hand card over here. You know, it'd be nice to potentially get some to hand in there and then kill this building, but that's not really going to happen, is it? So maybe what we need to do is we need to just gather some to hand into a land and try to get it to hand defend, which might be the better play here. So what we potentially do in that case is we go gather 2 to hand into either here or here and use that as our solve, and we call that a solve, and we call sort of, you know, call it a day. I think that might be the better approach. So let's do that with that card. That also gives us a single fear, which might be helpful. I think it potentially will be. Yes, that'll also get us to... oh no, actually, we're going to be way over, so that's fine. So otherwise, then it's just between that and that. Pushing the town doesn't do anything. Defending will matter now because we're going to be putting the hand into a land. But no, we're separating those out, aren't we? So no, we're going to do it this way. I've changed my mind. This makes a difference. So let's do this. 2, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. I need to basically defend 2 per the hand is kind of the thing that I need to happen here, which doesn't really come up all that much, but we're going to get to go into things. So we're just going to do our best. I don't think this is going to work, but we've got a shot. So we go 3 and then we go 0. That's fine. We can't use this, unfortunately. Over here, we have that saved, and then on that side, we gained 2 plus the 1, so that's going to be the 3 plus the 1, and I think we've got our plan in place. These are back in my hand as well. Needless to say, this range thing is gonna do some work actually, because that could potentially matter for this. Oh, that could be quite nice. So yeah, no, that's gonna work really nice actually. It'll help. It's maybe not perfect, but it'll certainly help. So we're going to go across the island a bit, and we're going to look to get somewhere over here where we've lots of problems. That's an awful land, and it's going to be an awful land again next turn, so we're going to need to be able to skip that. So let's put that there, so that at least lets us skip that land next turn. I think that's our play. Yeah. If I go there, I get to hit that land potentially with something as well, but it's not even a problem for us yet, so no, let's just do that. Okay, now what we can do... oh no. No, I want to do something else. So unfortunate. No, actually. So I'm going to go here, and then next turn I'm going to do this. I'm not going to gain a major. Next turn I'm going to play these cards. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do next turn. And then I'll gain a major the following turn. Again, thinking ahead when I'm about to lose, probably not a great idea, but it is what it is. I'm going to move here this turn. Then I'm going to do gather up to 2 explorers. I won't do that, but I will gather up to 2 Dahan, which is 1 and 2 in there. Keep them grouped up. And then we will do this Rituals of Destruction in here for 5, so it's going to kill 2 plus these 2, and that's a strifed building, so it's going to give us 2 fear plus the 2 from the card, which is 4 fear. So that's that land kind of half solved. Then, so we've done this in there. Now we can do for each thing deal 2 damage. So now we can kill this building, which is a single fear. So we're done over on this side of things, and we actually had I forgot we had the innate this turn, which is quite nice. What does the innate do for us? Oh, the innate actually kind of solves all our problems. Yeah, swap that for that, and the innate solves our problems. Okay. I could get greedy here. And I think to win this game, I might have to get greedy, so I may just choose to get greedy. I think I will. I'm going to choose to get greedy. What I could have done there was Dark and Tangle Woods, and I basically get it in here and then here, which is actually. When using a fast innate power, yeah, okay. No, so I'm going to get greedy. This potentially loses me the game, but again, I have to do something. So I'm going to choose to get greedy. I am going to play the Shadows of the Burning Forest instead. I need to get lucky with a hand defend anyway up here, so I'm going to play in such a way that I'm going to have to get a hand defend in this land as well. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this one twice, 2 fear. That gets me a fear card, it gets me to here. And then I'm going to push these in here. Because it's a jungle. I'm going to do the same thing over here. This is what I was talking about. I could have done defend 3 in here and defend 3 in here, and it would have solved my problems. But now what I'm doing is I'm just using this in here, which only lets me push a single explorer, and I'll probably just push them again into this horrible land. Get another 2 fear for that, so I get to do that twice. And then I'll do Jungle Hungers into this land, which is going to kill 3 buildings for a total of 5 fear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Too short, unfortunately. We kill all of that. Okay, that's all gone. Yeah, that's going to be it. That's the play that we're going to make. We can't get to use this, as I say. So we're done. Let's move to the. That's clearly into terror level 2. Let's move to the events. It's terror level 2 now. When ravaging invaders, do +3 damage in lands with 3 or more invaders. 3 or more invaders. Well, that's going to be a problem. Yeah, that's going to be a problem right there. I needed to for that to not happen at all. Okay, I'm going to need that fear card to really help us here. Okay, so it's going to be loads of damage. Then it's going to be on each board. Choose a land with disease. In that land, do 2 damage to invaders and 2 damage to the hand. So actually, I get to kill 2 and 2. That's 2 more fear, and that gives us another fear card, which is potentially massive. Fantastic news. And then also 1 fear per land with invaders where the Han outnumber buildings. So we'll start to go through and check that right now. Over here, the Han outnumber buildings, that's 1. Over here, the Han outnumber buildings, that's 2. Over here, that's 3. Over here, that's 4. Over here, that's 5. Over here, that's 6. 6 more fear. That's amazing. Yeah, 6 more fear. 3 plus 3. Yeah, we're sort of getting something going here, but it just looks like it's going to be just a little bit too late, unfortunately. So that's that one. We've got 2 fear cards that need to save us here, so we need some help. Terror level 2, each of these. Let's go. Each player adds... okay, well, that solves one of our lands. Each player adds a blight in a land with a presence, and each spirit gains 1 energy per sacred site they have in lands with invaders. So this nearly gets us out of jail. I can go 1 in there. That one's gone from before. So each player, so I can do that, and then potentially the other one I can do is, so I don't have a presence in that land, which is unfortunate. So it's not actually being saved right now. Otherwise, presence somewhere else. Not going to matter here really, is it? No. Sure, I'll put you on there. And we need to get lucky here. Yeah, sure, we also get some energy. We're nearly turning this around. Kind of, nearly, almost, not quite. 1, 2, and then you don't get any. And can we get it with the last card? Oh yeah, we did. Dahan Raid. Each player chooses a different land with Dahan. 1 damage per Dahan there. In here, let's do 3 damage. That'll kill 1, 2, and 3. And that will give us a fear. So it solves this thing. We get another turn. That's that 1 land we're playing on that. And then another land where we can do it. Is there any other good lands? We can stop a build here. Is there anything else better we can do than stopping a build? No, looks like there isn't. So let's go stop a build. Yeah, no, I can't kill a building or anything. Okay, we get to live another day. We did it. All right, let's go. Ravage over here. This is our horrible land. We knew that. We go Blight Cascade. Nothing we could do there. And that is the last Blight we are allowed to place in this game. And albeit we do have a card that gains 1 back, but yeah, that's it's not really working out for us in this game so far. Now we've got there. We've got Ravage. No, we've got Ravage over here, and it's a safe Ravage. They both die. No additional damage being dealt because there were not 3 ravaging invaders. Over here, safe, and then over here, dead. We made it. Okay, next up, build. Yeah, well, we've got lots of builds here. This is obviously painful. Build. This gets removed. Yep. Over here, we go build again. Big, awful build. Then down here we go no, we go build, and then we go no, and then down here we go build and build. Move that for now, and then we'll flip this card, which is Sands. That one's been coming for a while, so we'll escalate first, and then we add a building to a land without buildings. So we'll add you in there. On this board, land without buildings, we'll add you in there. So we know jungles has come up, so we'll add it actually there. And then in this board, we'll add you in there. Okay. Now we still have to explore. What am I talking about? Sands. 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, and 2, and then 1 and 2, and this one is quite easy. So on this board we definitely won't add it there, we'll add it there. Similarly on this board we'll add it here, and then on this board we'll just add it to the land with all a bunch of those already. Okay, that's it. Turn's over. Let's move to the next turn. The game's starting to come together. As I said, it's oh sorry, that doesn't go there, it goes there. Bit of a slow one to get going today. The game is definitely lasting longer than I was anticipating. Hopefully the game doesn't crash while that's happening, or my recording, should I say. But you know, we'll cross that bridge if it comes to it. Try to move it a little bit faster here and bring this to a close. So they're gone. Over here, then we'll untap that, and then we will we'll lose that energy. By the way, that tapping thing, I didn't point it out so far. That's something just from Magic the Gathering. It's another helpful thing to remember which cards you've used at which time during the game as well. So that was kind of something that I brought over from the other game. It's a very helpful way to remember what's going on. So that's the end of that turn. We're going back and we're going to growth again. That is not great news. Just dropped a bunch of invaders everywhere, but I have another box of them beside me, so we'll learn a lesson and we'll Clean that up later. Okay, so what do we have? Right now, we're going back with shadows. We are potentially gaining another major, potentially. We'd really like to see one. Over here with Earth then, so we've done the place at 2 away. Now we're going to go to gain the energy route, which we talked about before, because we don't need the major this turn. We kind of have our turn planned-ish, I think. What we said was we're definitely skipping that land. So we need to get a presence in here. So that's fine. So we'll go from there, and then I think we'll probably go from top track this time and gain 3 from there, would be my guess. So we'll play Year Perfect Stillness. We will play, I imagine, Rouse the Trees and Stones. Might be helpful for us. Are we getting anywhere near the coast with Earth? Not really, unfortunately. Not at least with any great use. So I think we also go Call to Migrate here. It's not going to give us our innate, but it's going to help us combo with the Bats card. We didn't mention that before, by the way, when we had the combo of the Bats plus the thing. So that's potentially useful. So right now, I'll take that away because that's a defend from a previous turn. I have a solve on that land with the Bats card, assuming I'm 2 away, which I am. So that's solved. We're skipping that land with Earth, so that's solved. 3 fear until the next fear card. We're now starting to think about how close are we to thing with 3 fear cards left to get a city turn level 3 victory, so we're not really getting there just yet. So those 2 lands are solved. This one isn't, and I'm not really going to be able to get there, at least for now. Potentially what I can do is use Shadows Innate to gather one of those explorers out of there, so that might be helpful. So that might be something to consider if we want to get a sacred side in there. That could work. So let's maybe think about that. We have this big land down here, which is a big problem, and we have this big land down here, which is another big problem. Reclaiming the Jungle Hungers at least could let us solve that land, but reclaiming right now is awful. But the only problem is if I don't, I'm stuck again with this power progression thing. If I knew I could dig for a major right now, I certainly would not reclaim that Jungle Hungers. There's no way I would do that. I would just take a risk, because that's not really a play that's getting me to an end game, a victory condition. Getting stuck in a reclaim loop in this state with shadows is not ideal. But right now, if I dig and I miss, or if I dig and it's a minor as opposed to a major, I'm in all kinds of trouble. If it's a major, it potentially solves this land, but I know if I reclaim, I can definitely solve that land. But if I reclaim, I don't get the innate. I don't get the extra card from here. I just don't really do much of anything. On the other side of things with Earth, I also don't really have much of much going on either. Yeah, we're in big trouble here again. I can gather 4 in here with Favors Called Due, and then potentially use that to deal 4 damage to, the city or whatever, which is okay, fine, but it's not really exciting, is it? If I get 6, that looks better using Call to Migrate and this plus Favors Called Due. That, like, those 3 cards to solve 1 land is an absolute travesty, but it's potentially a route. We're gonna have to leave the likes of this, just see what happens type of thing. Again, over here we're gonna have to try and get a bit lucky with maybe the beast killing the town, and then maybe something else. I'm not really exactly sure what on earth we're looking to try achieve here, because I suppose we've got the 2. So we can actually solve that land with the rouse and the trees and stones. We can deal 2 damage to that and then push one of our things away, so that's fine. So that's solved. We, with shadows down here, what do we have? we actually potentially have the Dark and Tangled Woods with Shadows, which could solve that land. So if I don't do that with Thing and we try to use those on the bigger lands, I potentially have that solve with Shadows there. Which is, you know, something. Yeah, I've got to... With Earth, I can... So I have a way to get... With Earth, I can go get 3 Dahan in there. I can pull them 2 in and then push them in. And then also with Shadows, I can gather another 4 in there. So that gets 7 Dahan in there. And I still don't get the extra 3 fear, which is super annoying. But, you know, whatever. So I can get, 6 Dahan in there, and then that wipes out this and this, because it's only damage to buildings. So I can kill that much with 3 cards, and that still leaves a bunch of ravaging explorers. But again, we hope for a Dahan defend or damage to save us. So if we get a Dahan damage or defend, that would solve potentially this land, but it still leaves this. I could actually, yeah, so with the Call to Migrate, I could pull in 2 and then push 1 in here and then 1 in here. So I could put a single Dahan in here, which could help. So I could kind of take care of this, assuming we have Dahan defend, which would leave only this land, the single land. But again, what am I doing with that single land? I think we need to dig for a major with Shadows and just hope, question mark. Hope for a 3 cost major with Shadows that solves that land. There is a single one that I can think of, but it even doesn't work because I can't even get the targeting legality for that particular card, so that one won't work, but we'll see, because I don't really have any other cards that do much of anything. So yeah, we're going digging, because gaining energy doesn't do it, and Reclaiming for Shadows, well actually let me see, Reclaiming for Shadows would solve that land on its own, but then we can't do this Favors Call Do stuff over here, because in that case then all we have is we're too far away, we don't have the range in there, so we'd still be left with this problem to solve. And then in that case we would have only we could gather 1 in, we could do 3, and then yeah, so we could do between these 2 cards, we basically would have kill 1 city, but we'd still be attacking for a bunch, and there'd only be 3 to hand in there. I think I need to go dig for a major. I hope it's a major, and see what we have. So let's go gain a power with Shadows. Look at the power progression card and see what happens, and it is Terrifying Nightmares. Major, forget a power. Okay. Oh, we never forgot a power, did we, the last time for Shadows when we gained the Jungle Hungers? Did we have any crap ones? We gained Lands of Haunted Embers after, so we definitely can't forget that. Was there any that would have been... I never liked this card, Crops Wither and Frayed. I haven't played it once in the game, so we never got a timing window where that one wasn't allowed to be forgotten, so let's just get rid of that because it's crap. And then let's go and get Lands of... or Terrifying Nightmares. I know the card, and I actually don't think I've ever cast this card before. Let's go and quickly find it. Terrifying Nightmares. And this could actually help, believe it or not. This pushes a bunch of things. It costs 4, but it is fast, so it's going to cost 3. This might give us a chance. I could be wrong. Let's see what it says. There we are. Terrifying Nightmares gets us some fear as well. So gaining a power card, add a presence. So potentially off the top track, actually maybe off the bottom track. So 3. No. Oh yeah, because this is 0. Sorry, what did we say we needed to play here? Favors Call Do. That was it. We need to play Favors Call Do to give us the chance here. So right now we could basically play both of them by taking off the top track, and that's only 2 card play, so we can't actually hit this. but it gives us push to 4 things. So I was thinking 1, 2, 3, 4. Push the 4 of them. And it gives us something at least over there. It also gives us a bunch of fear. We can't get that. Well, I mean, we can, right? So if I do something like use Lands of Haunts and Embers and don't, you know, play the, or actually not even, use Dark and Tangle Woods, and instead of Favors Called Do, if I took that away and I went bottom track is what I'm thinking here. So take that away for a second. So right now this is still only costing us 3. And I can go from bottom track and play either a 1 or a 0. Fast. Gives me a fear at least. I can't actually activate the other thing. So this... Yeah, it's a pity. So when does it reduce the foot? When using a fast innate... Yeah, so the innate only does it when you use the innate later in the turn, which is unfortunate. So if I do it this way, I can get a defended 3 in here to start things off. Oh no, I said I needed to defend 3 in the other land, didn't I? No, let's just assume that one, we leave that one. We're not going to defend 3 in there. We're just going to hope we hit a hand defend. Let's say we put a defended 3 in there. Now if we do the gather 3, push 3, and then kill the city, let's assume that's gone. It's still ravaging for 1 billion. So that's not great. I'm just thinking here, can I get away without playing Concealing Shadows? Because I want to try hit that extra 4 fear. Because that could give us the chance at another fear card, unless I'm very much mistaken. So right now what we have is 2 fear plus 2 is 4. We actually have... Yeah, let's assume we're going to use the strife on this. That'll be 5. And over on this side, we have 1 is 6. And then we potentially, in this case, have deal damage to kill a city, which would be 8. So that'd be a fear card. So yeah, hitting this would be another fear card. And another fear card would be really big news. Another fear card is probably more important than me playing the Favors Called Do here. So I'm just trying to weigh up the options here. If I play Favors Called Do, I can't hit this threshold. But if I don't play it, I hit another fear card. So I'm trying to guess at basically, is it worth getting the extra to hand in here to give myself a better chance of with this card, or is it worth giving myself an extra fear card? And I think the extra fear card is better because it gives me a better chance at defend X per the hand. So I think that's the decision I've made. That's the way I'm going to go with it. I am going to go on the bottom track instead of the top track. So from there, that's 3 card plays, and that is going to be this plus this, and then I have a choice. I can either play Land of Haunts and Embers or Concealing Shadows, and the Haunts and Embers card will give me level 2 of this, so I'm definitely going to do that, because that'll also give me some slight better play. Can't actually play the card, it's not going to do anything, but neither will Concealing Shadows, so that's fine. So that's a 3. And then this is a 0, and this is going to give me 1 back. In fact, actually, it's going to give me a rebate. So, yeah, I'll get 1 into the pool, and then when I use this, I'll get another 1, so my reclaim will be better, and that's going to be great. So that looks like that. And then over on this side of things, then, and of course I have to place the presents, but that's okay. And then on this side of things, I took from, I think we said, yeah, we haven't placed the position yet, but I think we took it from top track. So that will be basically 3 plus the 2. So I think we're going top track with this. Let's just have a quick look, because otherwise I'm just left with that card in hand, so that's okay. So it would be basically that costs 2. That costs 1, and that costs 1. I think that's what it looks like. 3 card plays. Still don't hit our innate, which is super unfortunate. Super unfortunate, because if I hit the innate, I can do Dark and Tangle Woods twice, and that could be huge. That could be huge. But if I want to hit that innate, I have to give guard the healing land into the game, so I need to take both of these back, which I can't do. So no, we're not doing it. Unfortunately, that's just the way it looks. So this is the turn. This is what I've chosen. Try to keep these things moving a little bit. Invader skip all action, so we skip there. 2 damage on push and explore, so we kill that. That's a fear, and then we push and explore into there is fine. After then we do gather and up to 3, push up to 3. So we will gather from here 1, 2. Into here, so I'm using this card from this land. I'll place this in a second, by the way. Actually, I know that has to go there, so it's fine. So I gather 2 in there, and then I push 3 into here. I think that's the way I want to do it. Because, yeah, I want to keep those in there. No, actually, I only need 1 in there, so... yeah, now you know what, we'll just do it this way. We'll keep the 2 together. That's fine. So we did that. Then we do for each thing deal a damage to a building. So we'll kill that city. That's going to be 2 more fear. That's another fear card. And we're 2 cards away this time from a victory, or 2 cards away from the city condition. That doesn't get played. So that's fine. I'm going to put my energy down here so I don't forget it as well. So on this side of the board then, I wanted to play my... where do I want my innate from? I think I want it from here because this can solve 2 lands. Pretty sure. Oh yeah, we still had this one, didn't we? We still had this one. Oh, that's not great. That is not great news at all. Well, I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, we're probably still losing this one in that case anyway. Not that we were not losing it, but we did our best. But yeah, we still have this land, and this land is now not getting solved. What I was thinking is how do I coordinate my sacred site stuff down here? So clearly here we're going 2 fear, and we're putting a defender 3 in this land. We're doing 2 fear plus another 1, so we're actually going to get 6 fear off this card, which should be 3 plus 3, and this is going to give us push up to 4 of these, so that's going to be 2, 4, and they'll all just go into that land for now. 2, 4, 5, 6, that all goes in there, which is okay, and then this, as we say, we're not using that obviously, and then it's between, so this, I'm just going to gain that 1 so I don't forget. That's going to give me some destruction on things, so I can kind of, if I put the sacred site here, I can solve both of these lands with this and this, but I need to kind of just ignore those lands. I think what I can potentially do down here is I can put the strife on this, because this is kind of unprotected. There's nothing really protecting you, so I kind of have to do that. So I have to come down here and do it this way. Now what I can do is I can go add a strife and a fear in here. And then I can do the gather. Yeah, so I'm either going to gather 1 and destroy 2. So yeah, it doesn't matter which land I do this in, really. I basically just do gather into either here or here. So I can gather that out of there and then just destroy up to 2, what do you call it? 2 of these. And then I get 2 fear for that, which pushes me into the next fear card, which is quite nice. It's a pity as well, as I was actually very close to my innate. I was only 1 short on that one, but that is what it is. So that is exactly how that one all went down. We've got a defender 3 in there. A Dahan defend in that case would give us a chance, but again, we've got this land over here, which is a big problem too. So anyway, that's all I can do. I have a feeling we're going to lose this one now, because it's just, that's the way cards have gone. Let's have a look at the event. It is search for unclaimed land. It's a new one. Healthy island, no. Blighted island. When buildings ravage in a land, if no beasts are present, invaders do +2 damage. Otherwise, destroy a beast. Oh wow! If it ravages in a land with a beast, it doesn't ravage. Okay, do this at most once per board, and then on each board add a thing to a land with 3 or more invaders, and that's not really going to matter. Okay, and then on each board, push up to 3 to hand from a land matching a ravage card to a land not matching a ravage card. Okay, that's not great, is it? But anyway, sure. So we go add a disease to a land with 3 or more invaders. Okay. 3 or more invaders. I'm going to push that in there just in case that gives me a defend. Unfortunately, this says 2, not 3, so I'll just push you in there. It's okay. And then on the other side, 3 or more invaders, we'll put you in there as well. Okay. And then when buildings ravage in our land, if no thing are present, yeah, so we'll remember that in a second. So, but we're still losing. We still haven't actually gotten a solve for this land, but we have a solve for almost everything else. No, yeah, no, not really, because this is now +2 damage as well. So we need now Dahan damage, not defend, and somehow a way to remove this city or move it or do something. So here we go. We have each player removes 2 things or a thing from a land with Dahan, which is quite nice. So I can remove you from there. That's one player, and then the other player removes you from there. So that's a start. Still doesn't get us there though. Second card. Each player adds. You're kidding me. You're kidding me. Oh no. Each player adds. We nearly got there. Each player adds an explorer or adds a strife in a land with or adjacent to a beast. Invaders skip their normal explorer and build in lands with beasts. So I can do it there, and then over here I can add 1 strife, but I have a defend of 3, and this is now ravaging for 4. Oh, I never followed the bottom of this card, by the way. Push up to 3 from a land matching a ravage card to a land not matching a ravage card. So in this case, oh yeah, no, actually that wouldn't have worked either, would it? Because this only works by, in this case, so what's that on each board? So in this case I was forced to push up to 3. Oh no, well, I definitely wouldn't have pushed those. I don't think I'd have done this at all. Up to 3 from a land matching a ravage card to a land not matching a ravage card. Yeah, no, I don't think I'd have done it in any of them. Yeah, I would have just left that as it was. So that would have been still fine. But then in here, it was each player adds a strife in a land with or adjacent to thing. That would have been it. But anyway, I'm not going to retcon that, and we're at the end of the game. So I did in fact lose. We got pretty close, and then if I end up getting through this ravage, we're kind of on the way a little bit. We go build, but our oh no, shit, we didn't even have that solved. Yeah, so that was another land we didn't have solved. So we didn't get it. But yeah, we've got some other problem lands as well there that we'd have to deal with. Yeah, look, it is what it is. I'm going to stop the game there clearly as I lost. So we'll chalk that one up as a big fat L. That's 0-1 so far on the channel. But as I said, I tried to create a game that I would lose, and that's certainly what I've done. Quite enjoyed it. Wasn't in love at all with the 2 spirits. Big restrictions, especially as I say where I was starting on the board and things like that. So we'll get into that maybe a little bit in the next episode around some of the stuff that happened here. But really enjoyed this one. Thanks so much for watching. Well, I'm hoping to not make the videos this long in future because we'll be here all day every game. But if you stuck around and you watched to the end, please do give your comments, feedback, anything that you saw that either you liked or certainly anything that you didn't. Be more than happy to have the feedback and kind of look to maybe change that up next time around. So big thanks, as I say, for being here, for following me as I get the channel off the ground. Would certainly appreciate if you give it the old subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. Get the notification bell on, because I'll be posting now in the next couple of weeks, trying to get as many sort of videos as I can can to get the ball rolling. So thanks for being here. We'll be back in the next episode for episode 1, which is to match the playthrough 1, and that's again going to be around kind of introduction to the game. So until the next time, thanks for checking in, and we'll see you next time.